Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
Absolute disgrace.
That's your knowing or mine.
Move him out of here, Derek.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on a Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing, nutters, messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome, everyone, to the 476th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse. Check us out everywhere that you get your podcast, be that Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher. We're all over the place. We're all over the place. We're like herpes, but a positive thing. With us today, speaking of herpes, Andy Patterson, you can't get rid of him. Hater Dave and Steve Wellings with us today. Last night, in a fight that really never managed to catch fire, a few good exchanges, and that was just over when it was over. Tank Davis, massive left hand, taking Romero out as he came in with a bit of a wide shot. Raleigh taken out of the ring shortly thereafter, looked awfully concussed. In a fight week that involved all sorts of shit talk, Raleigh getting pushed off the stage after the weigh-in. They maintained themselves pretty well until that final shot came in. Andy, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I honestly thought Raleigh was doing pretty damn well. I thought there was an argument he could be up 3-2 at the time of the stoppage.
I think some people are going to be a bit overboard. I think the first thing that kind of popped up for me, at least anyway, I thought both fighters were kind of respectful of each other's power, especially Tank. Obviously, awkward style with Romero, long arms. Well, given the fact is he has got a decent dig about him, so obviously Tank's kind of very, very kind of wary of it. Worked his jab pretty well, I suppose, Romero for a bit, but defensively he needs serious work. Does really need serious work at this point. People saying that, like, or even he's saying it that Davis was on his bike. I thought Davis was boxing pretty well. I thought for the best part of that fight, Davis seemed to be switched on, happy to basically work the perimeter of the ring and just pick his moments. And when it came, he took him out. And I was quite intrigued by it, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure other people are that overly happy with it because, as you say, never really caught fire for most of them. But again, I think that's just the respect value at the end of the day. I just thought that both guys knew they could bang. I think at the same time, I think Raleigh's been a wee bit kind of disingenuous. So's his corner actually be saying that he kind of ran all night and he's like won the fight. Was winning the fight 6-0. I mean, he got knocked out in the 6th round, so how can he win 6 rounds? I don't know. He's slightly exposed. He goes on like he's exposed his ass, for example. You know, I think Raleigh has actually exposed himself a wee bit, especially running his mouth up to the build up to this. You know, up at the top level, and he gets done in the manner what he did. He came in basically squared up, tried to get his money shot off the left hook, and got picked off his chin in the air. Then he goes, and to be honest with you, some people are saying it's a soft stoppage. I'm sorry, that stoppage was bang on the money.
Did they see how fucked up Romero was leaving the ring? Like, I don't think he knew what the fuck he was.
He turned to a statue before he hit the ropes. And then when he turned over, he's sitting on his backside. He's got his left leg trying to kind of find the ground, trying to get himself back up. He then decides, I'm going to roll over. Takes him another second to do that. And then he gets up. And you see his knees literally shaking. That when he stands up straight, you actually see him locking straight into position, and he's like kind of swaying a wee bit, takes the instructions slightly for the referee, steps a wee bit to the left, but he's no way is he actually on steady legs. 20 seconds to go, I think it was in the round, so it wasn't that late, shall we say. I think Tank would have followed up there, probably put him even worse state. He was concussed. I thought it was even shown when he walked out the ring that he was in a bad way. And yeah, look, I think the referee got it absolutely spot on. There is no way I believe that Romero was going to come back for that, because at the end of the day, he would need the arsehole winder a right hand for the gods to basically get him out of that. I think Tank would have come in there and absolutely ruined him badly. So I think the referee said him to fight for another day at the same time. So look, he's made himself marketable off this fight. You know, his personality, that type of thing. You know, he's got some people kind of bigging him up, but I think Rolly is, you know, for a guy who's awkward, he's got very decent power. He's talking about a rematch. He's due Jackson Mourinho's a rematch before Tank Davis is due him one. Let's just get that straight. But Romero for me is a fighter who's probably not got a Mayorga type chin, and he hasn't got the Chino Maidana room for improvement. You saw Maidana make adjustments later on in his career. This is where Romero's got to start at now. He's got to get the fundamentals spot on. His footwork isn't all that great, to be honest with you. And his defence, that that kind of like shoulder roll that he tries, and he's like when he's trying to back up, just keep his arms folded into his body, leaving his chin exposed. It's gonna hiding it nothing, mate. To be honest with you, if he keeps up at top level, he's gonna get chinned again at some point. So he's got to work on his defence mainly and get that footwork straightened out as well.
Absolutely. I don't think he's going to be much of a factor of anything. He could be a fun fight. He could be a good step-up guy. Could be a good gatekeeper. Because with that power, if you're not responsible, Raleigh could definitely take you out. Dave, it's been a while. What are your thoughts on this fight, my man?
Hey, glad to see not much changed around here. I thought, similar to Andy, actually, the stoppage was bang on, and actually, David Fields, for me, ref the fight pretty much perfectly. He was in and out quickly. Just basically, every time you thought, all right, this is starting to get dirty, he would be in there. He warned Romero one more time, you're using the elbows, and he was using the elbows. That big welt on the side of Davis's head was from an elbow, although I don't know that it was an intentional elbow, but it was definitely an elbow. And he was fucked when he got up. Showed some balls to get up, and actually I thought showed some balls and some skills in there that I didn't expect. I thought it was going to be over in 2 rounds. Nothing spectacular. I think he made Tank look bad. Really, he didn't look great himself, but he made Tank look bad for 5 rounds. Kind of being skittish. I was kind of surprised. I expected a better boxing performance from Gervonta, but I was actually impressed by Gervonta's post-fight interview. You hear this from a lot of fighters. We heard this from Broner all the time over the years, like, oh, he's focused now, he's matured now, he's ready to focus on boxing, it's 100% boxing, and then he just still ends up, as Andy said in the intro, fucked out, sucked out, looking for a handout. And I think, at least based on the interview that Davis gave, he did seem respectful. I was surprised. I thought he was going to go full mockery, full self-congratulations, but no, he sounded reasonable, he sounded intelligent, and I think hopefully he'll show more of himself in the future to move in that direction. Romero, while he did better than I thought he was going to do in the ring, he did end up kind of leaving me with a bad taste in the mouth, because I
think he leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, Dave.
Yeah. He ended up, after all the talk, after all the hype, he walked out of the ring. The commentator I was watching said he was going to get medical attention, but he was on his own 2 feet. He looked totally confused. But after all the talk, and what Davis said, we settled our beef like men, he should have stayed in there. I think he would have gained more respect staying in there, taking his L like a man, and saying, I'll be back. As it is, though, I think this is kind of his final this is going to be the peak of his career, in my
So
opinion.
yeah, it'll probably be the most money he made and the most spotlight he'll ever have on him, unless he gets charged for a series of sexual battery or something like that. And then
He seems the type.
Yeah, his accusations have been as much, right? Where I'll disagree with you though, Dave, is I did think it was good for Ollie to leave out of the ring because I thought he looked concussed, and I don't think concussions are anything to mess with. I think it's good to have protocol. That's just me personally, though. There's I don't know if you guys ever played Fight Night, the video game, but there's they have their dialogue in there, and Teddy Atlas says. He's like, I once had a fighter and he got hurting around. And after that, he went to fighting on instincts and he did great for the rest of the fight. And you know what he said to me after? It's like, did I get knocked out? Oh, he didn't even know what was going on. It was like, wow, great story, Teddy. You let a fucking concussed fighter go for like 8 more rounds. Good fucking job. I don't know why. Like, why did you put this in there? It's
because you're fired. It's because of fireman, mate. It's because it's all about.
At least you won the fight, eh, Joe?
Yeah, you go enough rounds getting battered, you are gonna think you're a fucking fireman. Just gonna be walking around the house, fucking pissing on things, thinking you're putting out flames.
Poor Rolly though, because he pulled a face. He pulled a face when he got stiffened before he hit the ropes, and he's like, "I've just got knocked out of a dwarf."
Fucking T-Rex arms, man. Ricky Gravel throwing us 449 in there. Always appreciate it, my man. Hope you're doing well. Always providing entertainment to the people of Twitter if they're lucky enough to know you. Steve, why don't you give us your thoughts on this fight and where would you like to see Davis moving forward? I keep thinking I just want the Kambosos Haney winner. That's really what I want.
I'd be happy to see that, to be honest. My thoughts, controversial as they may be, and a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, but I love this fight. I thought it was tense, it was tight. You knew the explosion was coming, Matty, and when it did, it was going to be brutal. And love him or hate him, Gervonta Davis, he's much watch TV for me, must-see TV. I'm sold on him. I think he's a star. I look forward to his fights every time. He packs the arenas out. He brings highlight reel knockouts every time. What more can you ask for? I mean, the fight itself, it was fairly tentative at the beginning. I was more intrigued by what was going on outside of the ropes. There seemed to be a bit of a scuffle, a bit of a crowd disturbance. Everyone was standing up all at once, and people were talking.
Madonna was there.
Yeah, Madonna was there. Shots being fired, they were saying in the evening.
I don't know. Like, I mean, that could easily be anybody done up as Madonna. The state of that.
I know, she looked like it could have been Michelle Joy Phelps for all I know.
Don't stand next to a fire, like Jesus Christ.
They trashed the Barclays Centre. I've been in the Barclays Centre myself, and they absolutely trashed it. It looked like a state at the end. But Davis as well, I thought he was playing up a little bit. He was talking to the ref outside of the ring, commentary, trying to talk to his mother. She was dancing on the screen. Everyone was having a good time. Doesn't seem to be affecting his performances at the moment, but something to watch out for. I recall his absent mentor, Floyd Mayweather, who obviously wasn't there last night. He used to do things like that, engage in a bit of ringside banter in his heyday, having American football discussions with Jim Lampley at ringside once when he was beating Henry Bruce Sellers so easily. But anyway, back to the present. Right up until the knockdown, I thought Romero was boxing pretty well. He was disciplined, he was calm, composed, used his size well, his awkwardness. He looked fast on the counter, and he got dirty when he needed to, which we knew he'd done in the past, the elbows, the forearm. I was pleasantly surprised with him in the ring, not so much afterwards when he stormed off like Broner, felt a bit sorry for himself. But as for Davis, he's a next-level puncher, next-level finisher. He's transcended boxing now. The American football people are there, basketball, hip-hop celebrities, all them. They're watching him, they're tweeting about him. He's truly arrived in a commercial sense. But the next stop now is better opposition in the ring. No more Rolly Romero's. All we need to see now is the level of opposition rise. Matty, to your point, we need to see him fight his peers. Ryan Garcia, he was at ringside. That's probably the next logical step for me if he's going to step outside the PBC ecosystem. Haney, Kambosos, the winner of that. Lomachenko. I'm going for it, man. I think he beats them all. Teofimo Lopez would be interesting, but I think he's too far gone at the moment.
He's going to be
physically.
140.
Exactly. He's going to move up. Like I said, physically he's gone. He's mentally gone. There'll be some trash talk heaven, but Lopez needs to sort himself out first now. Not many people are going to agree with this. I'm not messing around anymore. I'm all in on Team Tank. Let's fight the best of them. Let's fight his peers. I think he beats them all.
Let's not speak too soon about 140 because Tank was up at 140 for a while. He was the one who was looked too far gone. He was undisciplined. He was missing weight. He looked like a bit of a mess. Last night we weighed in at least the day before at 133 and a quarter. I think that shows the discipline that he's saying that he's recovering. So
did anybody catch the rehydration weight? It's been interesting because I thought Romero, looked pretty much well filled out on fight night.
I didn't catch him.
He looked in great shape, really good shape.
Davis's shape's interesting, isn't it? It's hard to tell with all those daft tattoos all over him. Has he got a belly? Has he got a six-pack? I don't really know what kind of shape he's in because he's so heavily tattooed.
Yeah, he's that wee kind of squat built, and he was only about 5'4" or something like that.
His tattoo artist is absolutely incredible. I'll tell you that rose that he has on his chest, the shadowing is incredible, but what it takes to be able to get fucking ink to take properly, colored ink to take properly on a black man's skin is incredible. Like, that guy is a fucking incredible tattoo artist. What he did there, that is fucking nuts.
What about the tattoo on his head, Matty? Are you impressed with that?
I don't like head tattoos. I think head tattoos are fucking stupid. Of all the
shit you get Gibraltar tattooed on your head, he has to look in the mirror to remember who he is.
It looked like he had one of those like radio mics coming down to his mouth.
Yeah.
It looked ridiculous.
It's awful, man. It's awful. Like, it should have stopped after Tyson. After Mike Tyson's tattoo became the butt of jokes, it was so bad that people are willing to make jokes about Mike Tyson, who can kick your ass. I think people would get out of that business. And not only that, like, Tank's tough, but a lot of these people with face tattoos, they're fucking pussies. Like, they can't fucking fight. Like, it used to be if you had a tattoo on your head that you're someone that you wouldn't fuck with. Nowadays, it's a fucking coin toss.
Tosh says here, Matty, he should have the teardrop on his face. Back in the day, the old Borstal dots would have been an indication that you'd been in the nick. So I think he needs the teardrop.
There you go. That's how to show you're hard. I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a finish by Tank. Hell of a finish. I thought the referee did the right thing. We'll see where he goes from here. Hopefully it's a good opponent. But man, he's a dynamite fighter with a hell of a fucking punch.
What does he do though? I mean, see contractually, he's meant to be a free agent from Floyd now, right? I mean, does he go the free agent route and keep Al as his advisor? I mean, he can hop over at the zone if he wants, but I don't think he would want to leave Heyman's sphere.
Definitely keep Al, Andy. I think he will. Can't see him leaving Heyman.
And I think Showtime seem to be really invested in the sport still. Espinosa seems to kind of have his ear. And I've said it before. I thought Floyd was actually inhibiting, Gervonta's, personality from coming out. It seemed to be like Floyd, especially when we did those All Access episodes back, a few years back. Floyd was in almost every other scene talking, and Gervonta never really got a chance to say anything. I think he's come across differently over the last 2 or 3 fights. He's took his training camp away from Las Vegas to go down to Florida this time. So maybe he has screwed in that, and maybe this is him now getting it serious. But Steve says we need to see it now up against the big dogs now. He is the number one attraction. He's complained in the past before actually about these guys, like 135 and whoever it is, like Loma, maybe Haney. It comes down to the money at the end of the day. It's about people demanding crazy stuff. Whilst at the same time, Gervonta has got a massive following, so he is going to have a big say in how much money he's going to be taking home from it.
He's exciting too, Andy, isn't he?
I know.
You watch Devin Haney against like Gamboa and all them guys, and he's just stinking the place out. Tank comes out, man, he just blasts people away. It's exciting, isn't it?
That's what you want. You want to see knockouts. Part of that last night, I really enjoyed that last night, and I thought it was different for Tank rather go seek and destroy. He admitted at his post-fight interview with Jim Gray, saying, look, if he'd fought him when he initially was meant to fight him, he probably would have went steam ahead and probably met force with force, and that might have been a wee bit more difficult for him. So this time he's had time to kind of sit, calm down, and just kind of play along with it, and just I thought it worked perfectly the last night. Happy to sit and probe, wait for his moment, and when it came, he said it himself. He according to him, he hardly touched him, or hardly hit him. And he said post-fight as well as the talks of a hand injury are false. So that's one bit of good news as well, because some people were mentioning that maybe broke his hand.
He did a weird wince. I think it was in the 4th or the 5th round. He threw like a hook to the body. What's with that Tracy Morgan pick you got?
I don't know who Tracy Morgan is, but that looks like something I would have chained my BMX up with in the day. What
you
the hell
don't know
is
who
that,
Tracy Morgan is?
I have no
Comedian.
idea.
He was on 30 Rock. What's a shame is what probably paid for those chains was his gigantic lawsuit from when he got hit by a fucking truck a few years back, and not actually his acting and/or comedy career.
Steve, what type of BMX you got, mate? I mean, Christ, you chained about 5 up with that, man. What?
Could have been Tracy Chapman for all I know. I've never heard of him, but I mean, fair play to the chain. Like.
Baby's got a gold chain. Anyhow, going down the undercard before we go down the rabbit hole of fucking 80s and 90s music. There's Landy Lara with a TKO in the 8th round over Spike O'Sullivan, landing that fucking left hand. I'll tell you what, Dave, it looked like Lara was starting to slow down at points, and I'm like, fuck, leave it to Spike O'Sullivan to finally be the guy who wears down Lara when he gets over the hill. Nope. Fucking end of the 8th round, lands that fucking bomb, sends Spike into fucking oblivion. He's not got the legs he used to have, but fuck, that left hand is still sharp as hell, isn't it, Dave?
Was that for me?
Yeah, I said Dave.
What did you say?
I said Dave, and I said Landy Lara, that left hand.
Is that Cindy in the
sharp as
background?
hell.
No, that's my wife. I was looking at a rabbit outside the window.
Ah.
Very important stuff.
What's she wearing then?
That fight was the fact that was on a pay-per-view. And it was shocking to me that actually this was his first world title shot. How did he earn a world title shot? All he's done is lost badly against every step up in opposition he's had, very badly, not even really been in the fight. And he's coming off of a win against a guy like a no-name with a poor record. How did he earn this so-called title shot? It was an embarrassing match.
It's the mustache, dude. It's the mustache.
I think it is. And being Irish, he sells, I think, because he's just a big plodding white bum who's like, oh, maybe it'll get a good shot in, eh? Oh, throw me a point. But he was.
Whereabouts in Cork is that accent from, Dave?
He was abysmal.
It's his attempt at an Irish accent, I'm pretty sure, Steve.
I would have thought that after all the fights he's been in, against some decent opposition, he would have been a little bit better by now. But he looked so basic. Maybe he's getting old too, so maybe he's just even worse than he ever was. But he didn't really have anything to offer. He got a couple counter shots in when Lara was just like, after maybe a round, Lara was like, okay, this guy can't do anything to me. I don't need to really worry too much. And O'Sullivan got in a couple glancing shots that didn't phase Lara at all. Didn't use his size well. He should, have you not watched any tape on Lara at all? The guy's had a long career. He's been in a lot of good fights. Well, not a lot of good fights, some good fights. If things are going his way, it's certainly not a good fight. But to make things go against Lara, you have to pressure him with volume. And that's what's happened before. That's what's gotten him before. Volume, the odd power shot, lay on him, make it ugly. He was awkwardly shuffling forward, maybe he just doesn't have it in him to throw in high volume.
To be fair, Lara's old, but he's only like 4 or 5 years younger than Lara. I mean, he's not a fucking spring chicken.
Yeah, he's 37. And Lara is supposedly 39, although to me, Lara looks quite a bit younger. It's weird with Cubans. I mean, sometimes usually you think they're older, like Luis Ortiz, but Lara to me looks like he could pass for 30. But yeah, he looked pretty good. He not as light on his feet as he has in the past, though, Lara. But that happens with age. The left hand was good. The accuracy was good. Of course, O'Sullivan's head was right there for him to tee off on. It was just a showcase basically for Lara, but it was so predictable. It was just exactly what you would expect. This big lump eating straight left hands, flush on the chin, and some nice right hooks actually too. Lara did what he wanted, and the stoppage was appropriate. Although personally, I would have liked to see him get whacked a few more times, just because it was a bit entertaining. When he looked like a drunk Irishman staggering around a pub every time he got whacked, and he would just kind of stagger backwards. Sometimes he would fall, sometimes not. It was an okay showcase, but co-feature on a pay-per-view? Are you kidding me?
Well, don't let Tucker Carlson hear you say that, because he's going to find out that you want a brown immigrant to take out a white guy, and he's going to call it replacement theory. So, be careful there, Dave. I'll tell you what, that Strike's got balls from like you couldn't believe. He's a tough guy. He's been an interesting character in boxing, but it was a kind of odd undercard, and that was an odd one to put right beneath the main event. Going down, my prediction was wrong. Rob, I don't even think paid attention to what he was saying. But Jesus Ramos winning unanimous decision over Luke Santamaria, 98-92, 97-93 2 times. Getting
was the
revenge.
results, by the way? What was the results for the prediction?
Oh, you hold on a second. I'll get there. Interestingly enough, Abel Ramos is Jesus's uncle, so getting that family revenge in there. Andy, interestingly enough, Steve is currently in the lead. I will tell you, based upon this previous week, he's got robbed by a single point. And you're 4 behind. I'm like 11 back. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like
So
the LA Clippers in the 90s.
What was the picks last week? How did I get them right?
You got them both right. Over and yep. And the
Back
books
on track.
the books actually set the line at 6.5. So I set my line a couple under. So yeah, I was off by about a round where it ended. Not bad. But yeah, you're doing good. But man, I thought that if Jesus Ramos wasn't as big as he was, I don't think he wins that decision. I think it's one of those things just where he was the bigger guy with the more obvious eye-catching work. And a lot of that had to do with its size, Andy. What do you think on that one? I thought Santamaria gave a really good account of himself.
I got to be honest, mate. The two fights on this card, I actually had it on in the background, so very, very little I can add to it. I probably watched more of the Ramirez fight against Melendez, to be honest. I thought Ramirez deserved the win in that one, to be honest with you. The Ramos Santa Maria fight, I think I seen the first 2 or 3 rounds. I thought it was kind of like meh to start with, so I just kind of maybe just sacked it off. Didn't really pay attention to the result. As for Spike O'Sullivan, I've got to agree with Dave as well, to be honest. Actually, I mean, every time he stepped up in class, he's always kind of got banged out. Always kind of frittered away, kind of on the fringe club journeyman levels of like either America or some of the bums for Europe, for example. I think the most exciting fight I saw him in actually was that time against Anthony Fitzgerald in Dublin. Whereas it wasn't so much the fight, it was afterwards when he celebrated on top of the ring ropes and the corner. Fitzgerald actually launches a wooden stool, literally missing Spike's bald napper by like 2 millimeters. I kid you not.
That was Fitzgerald's brother through that. I was at that fight.
You can literally see him just out of shot, just slightly in shot as he just throws it. And he kind of like, because of the weight of it, he kind of like staggers back, comes into the camera shot. That's about the most exciting thing I can recall of Spike's career, actually. As I say, he's stepped up against Eubank, I think. There's Lemieux in there as well. Munguia. He just becomes a bag for the guys at that level, unfortunately. So that's all I can add to the undercard, to be honest with you, mate.
Steve, you caught the Santamaria Ramos fight, I believe, didn't you?
I did.
There's only 4 fights that Andy had to watch, Steve, like this week. There's only 4. And he managed to not.
We'll let him off. I saw all of them, but yeah, I've slightly cooled on Ramos after that performance. I still think he can be in exciting fights, and he'll be a problem for anyone at the weight. But Santamaria showed maybe a little bit of a blueprint there. Ramos, tall, strong, bit of a weight bully, and it was his physical prowess that took over as they went down the stretch. He started to dominate, but early on, I thought he got caught leaning at times, static head, square on, a little bit too much for my liking. If he can rectify that, he'll still struggle to beat the top guys, and there are a few red flags, but he won well. Needs to iron out a few things. He's only a young prospect, but I was singing his praises in the last one. But yeah, it was definitely a weight thing in that. And as for the other fight that Dave was talking about, I'm actually liking this less mobile version of Erislandy Lara. He's not as agile as he was, in the Canelo era, not as elusive. He has to stand and trade a little bit more. And it was about distance and range for Spike. Whenever he got inside, crowded, cut the distance, went to the body. He had little bits of success here and there, but he looked less likely to get caught flush was the main thing. Whenever he stepped off, didn't work, let Lara work. Lara's hands were just too fast for him, and he was just banging trouble. Lara's counter-punching abilities, his accuracy, too much to handle. Spike's face was busted up from the second round. The left hook to the body was there for him. Jarrett Hurd, he landed that shot against Lara, but Hurd and O'Sullivan, completely different calibers of fighters. It was just Spike's toughness that prolonged the bout in the end. He just stuck in there all night, but he took some dangerous headshots. It was a compassionate stoppage in the end. I have a soft spot for Spike. I saw a lot of his early fights coming up on the Dublin scene, Cork scene. He has his limitations. He was an exciting puncher early on. He's a nice guy, and he's had a lot of good shots. He would have earned some money. Hopefully he's invested it decently. Pascal Collins in the corner, nice guy too, but it was getting uncomfortable to watch towards the end. Not really sure what they were doing putting that on a chief support. Bit shit, to be honest. They should have had another fight. It felt like there should have been another fight. Melendez, Ramirez, then Ramos. Then you could have put Lara Spike on, then something else, then Romero Tank. But I mean, I didn't pay for it anyway, so I don't care.
I did.
You paid for it, so no wonder you had to sit and watch your 4 fights. What fights did you watch on Friday night? Now you're talking about.
I didn't watch shit on Friday night.
Well, there you go then. So what you gave me grief for only watching 2 fights for?
Because it wasn't during the night. I might have been at work in the afternoon when those fights were on. Andy.
Yeah, well, as it says, once you get to my age and you got kids having sleepovers and that with your own kids, right, at 40-year-old, right, then you can come back to me and start giving me shit about what I watched and what I didn't watch.
Younger. I'm like 3 years younger
you better
than
get
you.
a move on then before your sperm starts to dry out.
I don't want to have fucking kids.
How old are you, Matty?
I'm 37. Have we not discussed how I don't want to share my Oreos with anybody? Fuck that. They're my goddamn Oreos. You got to share your fucking Oreos. Then you got to pay for them to go to college.
Are you joking? You don't get any of them, Matty. That's the rules. They eat them all.
Yeah.
He's such a libertarian. He doesn't even want to be a socialist parent.
And if you're fucking lucky when you're in your old age and you can't barely move and they come and visit you, maybe, just maybe, they bring you some snacks to make up for all the ones that they fucking jacked from you over the first 18, 20 years of their life, maybe 30 if they end up dwelling in your goddamn basement. I don't see the point. Let the species die. Let the species die.
That is a classic when I hear boxers say, well, you've never boxed, so you've not allowed an opinion. Well, Matty, you're not a parent, so you're not allowed to look at an opinion either.
I was a child. I didn't enjoy it for a fucking moment. It was terrible. Fuck me.
Matty, you're so misanthropic, man. I feel for you.
Thank you. It's I like dwelling in the darkness, Steve. It's not the worst place in the world. Andy, but you did see the Ramirez Melendez fight. I'll give you a break on that. Why don't you break down the fight for me? I did think that Melendez landed the sharper shots throughout the fight, even if not the most active fighter.
Who did you have one in the fight? You said Melendez.
No, I said I thought he landed the sharper shots, but I wasn't scoring that one too heavily. I just wasn't.
Well, as I say, I had it in 3-speed. There wasn't, as I said, I had it in the background. I thought Ramirez won the fight. I thought he worked the body pretty well, more active. I think. Well, I say I don't buy into the stats as much, but I think it was kind of switched. Ramirez had more body shots landed compared to head shots, where Melendez I think possibly was ahead on that specific target. But to be honest, I just preferred Ramirez's work for what I've seen of it, to be honest with you. So I thought he was more than a worthy winner. I'm just trying to remember where I last saw him, actually, Edward Ramirez. Who was it he fought? Was there another top name?
I was thinking that. He fought somebody on another Showtime undercard, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who it was.
He scored a couple of knockouts in a row off of right hooks. Kind of came out of fucking nowhere from there. And then, God, who did he?
Miguel Mariaga, Matt.
There you go, Mariaga. Mm-hmm. Yep. He went on the Javonta Mariaga, didn't he?
It was on the Javonta Isaac Cruz undercard. He was. There you go.
He fought Selby
he fought, as we say, he's fought Selby as well. That's probably where I maybe remember him from.
Oh, I didn't remember that one. There you go. Then.
Which Selby?
Lee Selby.
Featherweight
champ.
I don't remember that fight actually. Oddly enough,
a while ago. I'm sure he got schooled.
Yeah, I thought in that fight, watching it at regular speed because I paid for the fucking thing. I think that 98-92 card was ridiculous. I think that needs to be addressed. Number one, that 98-92 card was ridiculous. The draw card, the 96-94 card, definitely closer to reality. Dave, did you see this one?
Yes, I did. I'm not too familiar with either guy prior to the fight. They were hyping up Melendez. It seemed like he was maybe the fave. His trainer was talking about how, he's got a special guy here. If you're a special guy, if you're going to be, a star fighter, you got to do better than that. I thought maybe he did deserve it. I wasn't scoring it, to be fair, but I thought he had the better, cleaner shots. But he did leave enough space for the judges to give it to the other guy. Absolutely, the 98-92 card was way off. But it was actually, a reasonably competitive, interesting fight to watch, just not fought at a, excellent level.
Matty, can I ask something about this fight, actually? I noticed that Gilberto Ramirez calls himself Zurdo, which I believe is Spanish, is like left-hander, as in a southpaw. The lad who fought the Twist last week, the Dominican fella on the Showtime undercard, also called himself Zurdo. but Ramirez calls himself Zerdito. So what is that called? Like the little left-hander or something?
Yeah, little
Yep.
little Zerto.
Yep. There's I got a good recommendation for you guys if you got Netflix. When they came back out with the Mystery Science Theater 3000 reboot a few years ago, they did one, and it was called like the Creature from Hollow Mountain, and it was just such a fucking awful racist movie. And there was this old drunk Mexican guy named Pancho, and his son name was Panchito. It's just so yes, that is well within the language. It's little lefty, just like Panchito is little Pancho.
I thought so. I'm glad we cleared that one up for the listeners.
But if the listeners want that shit's fucking hilarious. Yeah. God damn, I need to watch that later. That's and Andy, you said you saw some stuff from Russia on Friday. I know you're a big supporter of the Russians. Why don't you tell me what you saw?
Yeah. Well, first I'll start with the German card. Actually, I never, which because there was no action on for the UK last night, we decided maybe head the German card on, but it was pay-per-view, so I sacked it off. Kevin Safety Pin Johnson dropped the 8-round decision, but the Russian card that you mentioned, big upset to be honest with you. Maxim Vlasov, I think he's highly ranked, or was highly ranked anyway, with 3 of the bodies, light heavyweight. Sorry, got pretty much beat down against is it Delmurod Satebaldiev from Kyrgyzstan. Smashed to the body, got dropped at least once, if I can recall. I think he got a cut. Then the bailing, possibly around about round 4, round 5. He's even come out post-fight and said he's retiring as well. So he says the last night had a horrible performance, can't find the motivation to fight anymore, even if it didn't become world champion. I think I had an interesting career with many great battles that I very much enjoyed. So yeah, Maxim Vlasov is now no longer in the light heavyweight division or ranked. So good night to him. Who else was on the undercard? Actually,
He was a good fighter, man.
He was all right.
He definitely should have nipped a few more decisions than he got credit for. Joe
Yeah.
Smith Jr., man, that one, fuck, that could have really gone his way.
That was probably his last possible. His last chance, to be honest with you. I mean, had the Galaki fight was there for him as well to be won. Let that one slip. Beat Chalemba, who beats him. But probably one of his best fights that I can recall him having actually was probably the one against Rakim Chakhakev back in, was it early 2015 or something. There was multiple knockdowns galore in that one. I think even Vlasov had been done, Chakhakev had been down at least 3 or 4 times. So that one always kind of stuck out to me as well. I think he fought Duradola. He was, value for a short period of time. So yeah, fair play to him. So yeah, look, he goes out. It was to be honest with you, it was just a manner, how he got beat, and then obviously bailing like that. So clearly the motivation's not there. What's the point of hanging in there in a 10-rounder, taking more punishment, which that guy was definitely laying it on him. So he decided just to bail. So good luck to him.
All right. Well, and that's boxing from around the world this week from the VPN of Andy Patterson.
That was free air on YouTube actually, so I have to had the Russians haven't actually banned access to that YouTube channel yet, so it's all good now.
Dude, send me fucking links when you got those things. Just send them to me on Facebook Messenger.
Get on the Tim Boxale's Discord server, mate. Get all the fights on there.
I am on Discord now. You'll have to send me a link. I guess I'll have to do that.
Don't do that to him, Andy.
Oh mate, can you imagine the parlay he's going to be able to kind of stack up? I mean, that Ricky Graville was fighting on in Mexico there last night. Could have had him watch free air on Facebook. Oh my God, it was all happening. You could even have Matty. I know he'll have to pay for your boxing. You could have even watched that German card on Bill Plus for subscription. I think it was €7. Value for money, mate.
He's going to be doing parlays on friggin' Indonesian flyweights and stuff.
Oh mate, it'll be insane. You can imagine the Egyptian fights. Will we ever get to see the Persian rug getting brought back out? He'll be betting on that.
I don't think I'm quite that sick.
Yeah, you're there, mate. You're there.
I was up this weekend. I placed 3 bets, just kind of fucking around. I put just a few bucks in the literal term on Spike O'Sullivan to win. I put $5 on Santa Maria to win. Big underdog. He was paying almost 7-1. I thought there was value in that. Win or lose, there was value in that bet. But the bet that I won, I put $10 on the Davis Romero fight to end in rounds 4 through 6. So suck that dick. I'm up for the weekend.
Much $2.
14.
Mate, you wouldn't even get your toss sucked for that, man.
Well, and then you also have to consider I spent $75 on the pay-per-view, so I guess I'm down 60.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So
I don't know what you want to call it. I mean,
you're
there's a lot of ways to
you're
look at
sucking
this.
your own then, basically.
Maddie, this is why you can't afford snacks for both yourself and your non-existent children.
I got a comma in my bank account. I can afford snacks for more than myself.
Here, Matty, I was thinking we had Donny on last week. We got Hater Dave this week. What do you think about Gabe, the Klansman, Lewis coming back next week?
No chance, man.
That'd be interesting. Have you guys heard hide nor hair from Gabe?
No, Ben was worried about him after that shooting last week as well.
It's not him you need to be worried about. It's everybody in his vicinity.
I don't think that Gabe has the mobility to pull off anything of that nature.
Where is he these days, man? He's been MIA for like 6 months.
He comes for like a year non-stop, and then he disappears for a couple of years. That's been his kind of pattern, hasn't it?
Here you go, Andy. Here's some good fucked up shit for you, just to give you an idea. About a month ago, I placed $7.68 on a long-term parlay with the Los Angeles Dodgers to beat the Pittsburgh Pirates, Scotty Scheffler to make the cut, David Benavidez to win, Gervonta Davis to win, Stephen Fulton to win, and Jamal Charlo to win. And if I hit those last two, I'm going to make a grand total of $19.94.
Dude,
I've hit everything so far, though. I like fucking around. Who fucking cares?
I'm speechless. Literally, you're not even playing the long odds, man. Even Jesus, suffering.
Yeah, well, you gotta, dude. I'll tell you the reason you got to do that. Sometimes the odds, like on Fulton, get wide and shit like that. You nip the value early because if it's an obvious kind of thing, the money tends to move one direction.
You better just rent your ass. Should they make money, mate?
Yeah, and but yeah, we'll talk into what I have coming up because actually over the next 10 days, my next parlay, all of those are in the next 10 days. So we have exciting things going on here. Really exciting things. Let's see if this comment is good from Boran BKK Salon. Says, seems like Matchroom really missed a trick not promoting Bivol more outside the ring the last few years. He's a likable fella, the kind UK fans could get behind. Steve, is Bivol more than just a marketable boxer? Is he a marketable personality?
I'm not sure if he's a marketable personality necessarily, but he definitely has a personality about him. I think a lot of people were impressed with him after the Canelo fight. He had a bit about him. He was funny. He dealt with the political situations, which is bollocks in my opinion, right beforehand. People were trying to put it on him about Russia. I think he dealt with it very well. Afterwards, he was taking the piss out of Eddie, which is always a tick in my box. Eddie, he knows the crack. He's not stupid. Eddie had no interest in him whatsoever. He can talk about sliding into Maxim or whatever his name is, DMs, and, I believed in Bivol all along. No, he didn't. He's on the Canelo train, just like now he's pretending that the Bivol fight never happened. Oh, he's too small for 175. Let's get him back down to fight Golovkin, beat Golovkin, a shell of his former self, and forget the Bivol fight ever happened. Bivol's a character. I like him, and I'm glad he got it, and I hope he gets the rematch, and I hope he beats him again, and shit on Eddie for it. Eddie's no interest in him whatsoever, and I don't think he'll become marketable to the UK fans, but he's definitely done himself a lot of good now. Going forward, he's going to get more paydays, more opportunities, and more power to him. I thought he handled himself brilliantly afterwards and showed that he's a funny character and he knows the game, he knows the score. He's not stupid. He knows Eddie and them have no interest in him whatsoever, and he upset the apple cart. So fair play to him. I like him.
There you go. Steve likes him. Why don't other people like him? I tend to think that Steve is a good judge of character. You seem like a decent guy.
Well,
he's also likable as well because they tried to fucking job him on the scorecards.
They really gave a rip.
They really tried to give him everything, didn't they? They really tried to give him it. And then it was like, well, it got to the point where you couldn't rob him. You couldn't rob him, but they tried everything they could. So fuck the judges in that fight, by the way. Disgraceful.
I was checking out the highlight, just the shortened version on YouTube this week, and they edit it to make it look like Canelo is like well in the fight and like it's actually close. And you can hear the commentators say, "Oh, it's possible Bivol upset the apple cart here, but it's close." It's like, everybody, the whole fix was in for Canelo, but he when you get beaten, I don't know, probably what was it like? 10-2?
I don't think I gave Canelo 2 rounds, 10-2 possibly. Definitely.
Yeah, it was really, man. Even 4 rounds is probably stretching a bit you know, anyways, as long as you get the W, right? The W is what counts.
Yeah, but that's the same. That it kind of like gives them like anybody coming up 10, 15 years later who's like maybe like Baby Arms just now, they come up 10, 15 years later, become boxing fans, look through the list. Canelo had a close fight with Dimitri Bivol there, by the way. You know, that type of thing. Like,
Up
fuck
at
off, dude.
175, I know exactly. 10-2, I had it. Anything closer is an absolute stretch. Stretch more than Eddie's forehead. 115, 113 is absolute bollocks, and everybody knows it.
Even Ed. That was as savage as Gervonta Davis's left hand there last night. Poor Romero.
Oh, God.
Highlight reel audio there, Matty.
Yeah. Better clip
Got a
that shit
timestamp
for
of
the
that,
next
please,
intro.
lads? That's about 45 minutes in, Steve.
All right. We got a question from James Windsor. Who wins? Dignam versus Cash. Who do you got in that one, Andy?
Danny Dignam against Felix Cash.
Sure, what else? Yeah, no, it's Danny Dignam versus Johnny Cash.
Johnny, well, it's going to be Danny Dignam, isn't it?
You wouldn't pick Dignam to beat Johnny Cash, Andy, I think, after last week, would you?
They're both in a similar position where they slept.
Well, I suppose if you actually put them in a drunken position and say, right, walk home and try and throw a punch, then we'll be able to see who's the most gassed. I'll go Felix Cash, mate. On points. I don't think he's a big hitter, to be honest with you, is he, Felix Cash? Yeah, I see he wins on points.
Steve, I think you got to go that way because I think that what happened to Dignam is going to fucking haunt him like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, I don't think Dignam will fight again. I honestly don't. I think that was one of them things that just changes you. And as for the fight itself, Cash stopped Bentley, and I was always a bit of a Bentley fan, so I think Cash would stop Dignam as the fight goes on. So I would go Cash by stoppage after what we saw last week. Dignam had never fought a 12-rounder. He wasn't even top 5 in his own country. He was top 5 in the WBO in the world, but he wasn't top 5 in his own country. I mean, what more do you need to know?
There you go. It's just like there's all these, quote unquote title fights. Like they're just, I guess they are because they call them that, but are they really a title fight at the end of the day? It's some shit just doesn't make sense.
What was that title that Lara had there last time? Was that a title fight?
He has the WBA Super. Is it the Super?
It's the world, isn't it? I think someone else must have the Super.
It's what do you call it? It's Golovkin.
There you go.
Aye. Yeah, you must have the world or the regular or something like that. They did away with the interim, didn't they? So it must be the world. Mm-hmm.
Perfect segue. Dave, it looks like we're getting Canelo versus Golovkin 3. I'm trying to kill some time before Rob gets here. He's fucking things up per usual. What are your thoughts going into this? I think we kind of all thought clearly for Canelo before the Bivol fight, but man, that fight could fuck with Canelo's head a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, do we know what weight it's at?
68, I think.
68, I believe.
Has Golovkin even fought there yet?
No, he has not.
He's had one fight. He's not had one fight at 60.
I don't think so.
No.
Don't think so.
He's fought middleweight purely.
Steve Rolls, I think, was.
No,
there was one fight he had at 68. I'm convinced.
Maybe that was because he didn't want to make middleweight, but maybe not strictly 168. Yeah. Maybe Rolls.
No, because I think they've all been title fights.
Nah, Rolls was the first fight back after losing to Canelo, so I don't think he had the title. Then he beat Derevchenko for the title. I could be wrong. I'm only going off my top of my head here.
I'll check it.
Well, I would expect another competitive fight, reasonably competitive. If Golovkin is slipping, if his body is starting to break down, we could see a stoppage. I don't think it's likely, though. He ate bombs from Canelo and other guys and never budged. I don't know that we've ever really seen him hurt.
Not to the head, but to the body. Both Derevchenko and Murata hurt him to the body.
Oh, Murata did. Okay. I didn't see that fight. I only saw the...
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, considering how Golovkin looked against Murata, and it took him a while to get really, to get him, get started. That he hated those body shots, as you mentioned, Matty, and it took him, to me at least, took him a few rounds to kind of somewhat recover for it. And then they obviously kind of started putting the beating on Murata, but
yeah. I think you have to favor Canelo, not just because of the judges will be in his corner, but because Golovkin's old and he's been showing signs apparently. I mean, he showed signs before the Murata fight as well. He hasn't looked the best. He's looked a bit old, and for me, he lost to Jenny Jacobs. But that said, I thought Golovkin won the previous two Canelo fights. Definitely the first one. The only two people who don't think he won that one are Don Trella Sr. and Adelaide Bird, I think. And the second one, it was certainly closer, but I thought he won. I thought he landed more punches and outboxed Canelo actually there. They kind of reversed roles in terms of who was coming forward and putting on the pressure. But yeah, I thought he won both those fights.
I think I had that a draw for some reason.
I think it's probably coming to the end, and this might be the perfect time for Canelo to kind of put a nail in that trilogy. But of course, the records show that he's the only one in that trilogy so far with a victory, which is absurd.
Yeah, Steve, that's kind of an interesting thought on that because I'm counting Golovkin out too early though because I think I've scored 14 or 15 of the 24 rounds against Canelo for Golovkin.
I think that it's going to be an uphill battle for Golovkin for a number of reasons. His age, his inactivity, the rust is not going to help him. And the fact that even at his peak, the peak of his powers, he couldn't get a win over Canelo. They wouldn't give it to him. So how on earth is he going to be any better, any stronger now to get the decision? So that's one thing going against him for a start. He ain't going to get the win. I think for the first 8 or 9 rounds, I think it'll be competitive. I don't see it being a blowout. I'm not saying this based on Canelo's performance against Bivol, by the way, and I don't read anything into that. I think he's back down at 168. Golovkin's never fought at 168. He seems to have the sign over Golovkin already from the previous 2 fights, and I think that Golovkin will push him pretty close, but down the stretch it's going to be difficult with the body shots taking their toll, and he might be clinging on for dear life towards the end. Well, maybe not for dear life, but it'll be a tough battle, and he'll win a reasonably close but conclusive points win for Canelo. I don't think he will stop Golovkin, and I think it'll be more competitive and closer than people think. And I don't think Golovkin will just go out. I think he has a lot of pride, and I think he still has fitness about him. He looked like shit against Murata. Didn't look great against Derevyanchenko, but he can give anyone a hard night's work. But I'm going to go for Canelo. Reasonable points victory for him. I'm not happy about their way they're sliding down, trying to pretend that the Bivol fight never happened, but I don't read anything into that Bivol loss because it's completely different styles. And the fact Canelo has beaten Golovkin before when he was a much better version of Golovkin says to me that I'd be very surprised if Golovkin got the win. He's going to have to stop Canelo, which, I mean, he's going to be juiced to the gills, isn't he? Canelo on points from me, close, conclusive win.
You know, I got to disagree with Steve a little bit on that one, Andy, in that I think that Golovkin has a similar skill set to Bivol, but he's not as big as Bivol. And I think that makes a little bit of a difference. I think pound for pound, he's a better puncher, but their punch choices, very similar. Lots of straight punches, and then they kind of finish off with the hook once in a while. They're not big movers around the ring. They're more subtle, subtle shifts and things like that. I think there are some similarities, but the size, that's such a big difference.
Yeah, it's probably a fair point actually to make. And it's just again, it's just timing, unfortunately for us. You know, we say that back in the time that after the rematch, we wouldn't want to see a third fight. I think it's getting made purely out of desperation. You know, Golovkin's got a deal with DAZN. It was mega money. Eddie's scrambling for a big fight, mate. He really is, and this is what we're getting. You know, they know that Canelo can afford another loss to Bivol immediately, and then try and market him somewhere else for another big fight. They need the Golovkin fight, and they need a kind of pay-per-view fight, something to sell, and they'll try and sell it hard. To be honest, but everybody who knows their boxing, watches enough boxing, knows it's not the same Golovkin. I wouldn't be surprised actually if there is a stoppage. You know, considering but Canelo's been getting some of these decisions at least, and that who knows. The bodywork really concerns me, considering how hurt he got. And Murata's a decent hitter, to be honest, but I think Canelo's a wee bit kind of slightly better than him. Obviously, he targets the body mostly by his style anyway. But I think it's written down basically for Canelo to win, possibly well on the cards, I think. But who knows? We might get a moment where Golovkin might just turn the clock back. Maybe he does catch him with a shot. I can't see anybody getting knocked out. I can't see Golovkin knocking out Canelo, to be honest with you. Maybe hurt him a few times. Yeah, At this point, mate, I just don't know. I mean, what is Golovkin? 41, 42? He's still in activity. His first fight back in 2 years. He's going to. I don't know. I really don't know at this point. It's all written for Canelo to win this fight.
It's not his first fight back in 2 years. He just fought Murata.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. His first fight back in 2 years, and he's coming right into a Canelo fight. I'd like to have seen him maybe have another fight actually to see again. But again, it's all about timing. That's just what it's about. They're just wanting a payday. That's what it is. You know, in terms of skill sets and that, yeah, look, Bivol is bigger. But at this point, Golovkin's just old now. He's in his 40s. He's just an old fighter. You know, he has. Steve says he's got pride. He's still got enough about him. But at this point, it's just he's no Triple G anymore. That's my point. You know, he's no the guy. Is bad at hurting his opponents, icing them. You know, looked awful in his last fight. Divtachenko, Steve says, in that look, it was a hard night's work, but it was a very tough fight. Danny Jacobs pushed him close as well. And then obviously he's had the two struggles with Canelo as well. So at this point, obviously the length of amateur career he's had as well, it's going to catch up with him at some point. I think that time is now, personally.
Yeah, you have to consider that he's fought like, what is it, 40 fights now at middleweight? Maybe, and anyone jump in if you think I might be right. Maybe Golovkin will actually look better at 168. Making weight won't be as big of a deal. Maybe he'll look stronger. I don't know.
I don't know either, mate, to be honest with you. I thought he looked kind of, especially after the rehydration and in the Murata fight, I thought he looked a bit soft, to be honest. That's just my opinion. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a guy who's maybe struggled to make the weight and then just packed on a bit too much. Looked a bit floaty to me, aye.
I'll tell you what, though, Matty, I know that given my prediction, that's like the reality, the kind of head of the prediction. But my heart, I would love to see Golovkin win this fight. It'd be absolutely classy. Imagine the big juice head himself getting knocked out, big fat Reynoso in his corner, the Botox Lego sex doll crying at ringside.
His bow tie amazing. His bow tie on. Oh, you can imagine all the interviews and that. He'd be like, wow.
These little Armani gym jams and all.
Brilliant. Listen, Matty, I know you're a betting man, but just cover some of that parlay money just in case it were to happen, mate. That would be glorious. Like, it would be fantastic for that to happen.
What I think, because obviously Golovkin's going to be an underdog, I bet you can probably play both Golovkin to win and Canelo by stoppage and come out winning if either hits.
It would be great though, just to get like I don't see it's a big fight, but I get why people will say it's a big fight. But it'd be great just to get an absolute upset, something miraculous, you know, like Canelo getting properly iced, you know, like can't beat the count or whatever it is, or needs oxygen or whatever it's going to be.
He needs oxygen.
In the ring, obviously, right? But he wakes up okay, right? Put that disclaimer in there before anybody goes mental. But, you know, just something, just a massive, like an Andy Ruiz Joshua moment, you know, something like along those lines, something just brilliant to unite the whole boxing world just for like one day only. It'd be absolutely amazing if it was to happen.
Dave, I see you're off. You're unmuted. Or you want to say something?
I'm with Andy and Steve both. I mean, I would love it. I would love to see it. I just don't think it's likely at this point because, I mean, we all wanted that to happen, and many of us thought that was going to happen in the first fight. We thought that Golovkin was, you know, maybe a little bit more special than he has turned out to be. I'm not saying he's you know, like a total disappointment, bad fighter.
No, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a great fighter.
He's a great fighter. I'm just saying, I think there was some level of, some people thought, you know, he's got this he's the full package. He's got this amazing jab, and the jab alone will beat up Canelo. You know, he's going to be knocked out by the jab. There was just a lot of hyperbolic talk about Golovkin prior to that first Canelo fight. And even though he did, in my opinion, clearly win it, he didn't really hurt Canelo. Not really. Maybe once with an overhand right, and then in the second fight, I don't think he hurt him at all. So I think the power was a bit hyped off of some of the lesser opposition Golovkin fought.
Could be the case. Could be the case. Good conversation. Like to thank the people in the chat: Leon the Canteen, Alex Bellotti, Slappy Gilmore, Jim McDonald Boxing, Johnny the Equine Phallus Nelson, Tosh Tagagulu, Junior Malone. I hate your fucking name, dude. I love you, but I hate your fucking name. Highguard Plotter, Younger's 27, Cal Chads, Michael Thompson, Chris Butler, Dale Baker, Deanch, Kane White, Willie Outstand 86, Big A, Sad Ken, Ozymandias. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Ricky Gravel for dropping in that super chat. Hoping Rob wanders in here. Haven't seen him yet. God love him. Hopefully he gets here soon. There's some interesting cards going on. Some worth discussing, some not. Just a heads up Thursday from Montreal. Got Maziam Ogdenese versus Juan Antonio Rodriguez. Maziam is at 16-0. And also on that card, Steve, this might actually be a point worth discussing. Charles Conwell, 16-0. Good wins under his belt. Facing Abraham Juarez Ramirez, 19-9. Junior middleweight. What the fuck is this talented kid doing?
Yeah, Charles Conwell. I think he's an Olympian. I'm not sure. We were discussing this again off air. He's 24 years of age, 16-0. He's been on Ring City. He's been on Showbox cards. I think I've seen his last few fights actually against Wendy Toussaint. That was a good fight. Pretty even, competitive fight till Conwell stopped him. Then he fought another undefeated guy, Madiar Ashkayev. Again, I think that was another Showbox card. Or that might have been the Ring City card. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then in his last fight, again, beat another undefeated fighter. He obviously had that ill-fated win over Patrick Day as well. And he's got some really good wins, Conwell. I don't know why he's not been picked up by a better quality promoter and really pushed along here. He's in Montreal fighting Ramirez. Considering the fact he's fought Toussaint 12-0, Ashkayev 14-0, then stepped up and beat Rubio 18-0, and now he's fighting a 19-9 guy. I like to see him active. He's been out the ring for nearly a year, but you'd like to think that whoever his handlers are can find him something better than this. It's on Quebec Yvonne Michel Promotions on a Thursday evening. Come on, man, let's get on board Charles Conwell. He's a good fighter. Someone pick him up and get him some decent fights. And I'm looking on the undercard there, and the main event, in fact, Maslan Azkaniz. Never heard of him. Don't know what's going on there. Yeah, let's get behind Conwell, Matty. I think he can do big things.
Yeah, you just got to get the opportunity. Hopefully he gets that chance. But that is from Montreal on Thursday. He's
a nice, patient boxer. You know, he can punch a bit as well. He works his opponents out. He grinds them down. He gets the stoppages. There's a lot to like from Conwell.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of last time I really remember seeing him. But I remember seeing him, and I remember he looked good. But he's just one of those guys that they haven't pushed. Amidst all this crap that they throw at us, it doesn't belong on television. There's some stuff that does belong on television, though. The Zone on Saturday. Decent enough main event. The undercard, meh. Sky Nicholson continuing her ascent up the women's featherweight ranks, taking on Gabriella Bouvier over 8 2-minute rounds, taking that step up. 130-pound clash between Farouk Kurbanov and Zelfa Barrett. But Andy, I guess the most interesting fight on there, actually, I don't know if it is that interesting. It could be a wipeout. You never know. 130-pound IBF title clash. Kenichi Ogawa against Trio Cordina. What are your thoughts on that one, senor?
I think it's an interesting enough fight, to be honest with you. Probably at this point, it's obviously it's Joe Cordina's toughest fight in his pro career. Obviously, I think he's only had something like is it 12 fights or something as a pro. But whatever it's going to be, mate, you know, Ogawa's slightly tainted as well with that past drugs test. It was a couple of fights back, whenever it was a few years ago as well. But he's a decent, strong enough fighter. Actually, he's got a decent enough jab. He's energetic. He comes forward, probably lobs in the right hand a fair bit. Ogawa. Cordina's more your kind of classic boxer. You know, good amateur, decent jab, throws it to head and body, can switch it up. I just wonder though if, for what I've seen him in the past at least, anyway, Joe Cordina, I think he can look to maybe take, you know, not so much rounds off, but he kind of like takes moments off during rounds. And I think that's when Ogawa might just be up in it. So again, I think Cordina probably knows himself it's his toughest fight, so he need to be switched on for it. Providing we get, you know, a fair shake on the cards, I suspect we'll get a close, very close decision win for Joe Cordina. I would not be surprised though if we do get an upset, maybe a possible knockout, because we just don't know how tested or how seasoned Cardina really is. Obviously, his conditioning, is his ability to take a shot at everything. Ogawa's I think he's got a fair knockout percentage in that as well, and has mixed at a higher level, especially even domestically and internationally, and that he's competed at a higher level. So we'll wait and see. But I think at this point, I would probably say Cardina, provided he doesn't shit the bed, probably wins by boxing. But I think he'll have a few hairy moments, unless he just comes out and blows him out. But I'll say Cardina on points.
All right, Cordina on points. Interesting. Steve, do you have any thoughts on the Kurbanov-Zelfa Barrett fight? There's, Barrett probably is going to look better at 130 pounds than he did against Kiko Martinez, but I don't know much about Kurbanov. Can you fill me in?
No, actually, I don't know anything about Kurbanov either. I'm looking at his record here. He's from Kyrgyzstan, which I believe so was Bivol and Klitschko, and he's based in Belgium. He's 13-19-3. He lost to Joe Cordina 3 fights ago, so I don't really know much about him, Matty, to be honest with you. I don't rate Zelfa Barrett. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, I think I was getting a bit ropey there.
Yeah, you got a little bit chunky there, but it's back.
Yeah, it seems to be okay.
I think this guy... Sorry, mate, I was just going to say, I think this guy Barrett's fighting pushed Cardina to a majority, I think, as well.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I don't rate Zelfa Barrett, so you imagine if this Kurbanov pushed Cordina, not Medina, pretty close, then it must be half decent. I'm looking at his other losses as well, to Boshiero, Ziane, all European level, so I think he might have too much for Barrett, too much seasoning, too much experience, because I don't really rate Barrett too much. And while I'm still flowing, I might as well go on to the main event quickly. I agree with Andy rather. I think points for me for Cordina, but it's going to be tough because Ogawa is a relentless, strong guy. But Tevin Farmer beat him, even though Ogawa got the decision, and then eventually it was a no contest because of the drugs thing. I thought Farmer beat him. Obviously, Farmer and Cordina are different levels, but Cordina's had a bit of a strange career. I was following him a bit closer back in the early days when he was on the domestic scene against the likes of Dodd, Tona and Gavin Gwynn. He waited an age to get onto an AJ fight. I think it wasn't after the event, one of the AJ, maybe the night he won the world title, and he never got on. And since the Gwynn fight, I mean, I'm looking at his record here, beat Tinoco, Kurbanov, as I mentioned, Hernandez, Kachatrian, going this WBA continental route to try and get a world title shot. Has he had the seasoning? Has he had that real step up between him and a world title level operator? He might get away with one here because Ogawa is relentless, he's strong, but he's pretty basic. If Cordina has the fitness and the boxing ability, he could beat him, but he hasn't had that step up in between kind of domestic, fringe level, up to world level, so that could come back and bite him, but I think it's been all set up for him here. Get the win, beat Ogawa, and then look to making defences and stuff. But wouldn't be at all surprised if Ogawa beats him because of experience. But I think it's all set 100%. Up for Cordina to win on home soil here.
100%. I agree with that as well.
Well, that'll be interesting on DAZN, evening for you guys, afternoon for us over here. And then we'll be over on Showtime that evening stateside for a card headlined by Stephen Fulton against Daniel Roman for Fulton's WBC and WBO 122-pound belts. But leading up to that...
Is this on the list, this fight?
That is, but leading up to that, David Morrell versus Kelvin Henderson for the WBA 168-pound super championship. Ain't it super? David, what are your thoughts on David Morrell and this limited opposition?
Seems like a waste of time. And I've never seen Morrell fight.
Really?
No.
Steve, I'll hop in. I know you're actually reasonably keen on Morrell.
Yeah, I like Morrell. He's a ticket seller, isn't it, in Minneapolis? He brings the fans, brings the excitement. They've moved him very quickly so far in his career. He knocked out that guy, was it Hernandez, I think, who gave Chavez a good fight. So it's probably all set up for Morrell. Again, he's in against one of these guys, like 15-1, a lot of knockouts, but who's he really fought? Morrell, if he can get rid of him, maybe go on and fight someone like John Ryder they're talking about. Morrell's putting himself in line for the likes of, it wasn't Belanga, maybe Benavides, I think he fancies a shot at, or somebody like that. But Morrell's going places for me. Not hanging around, definitely skilled, brings a crowd, can punch as well. I am high on him. I'm very keen on David Morrell, Matty. I think he'll get rid of this guy and then move on to bigger things.
He definitely seems to be one of the stronger class of the amateur blue chips coming up, doesn't he? I mean, there's some of them, you throw them in the deep end quick and you're like, this is going to end badly. Morrell, just keeps swimming. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes from there. Andy, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not really, mate. I think he'll win pretty well, to be honest with you. I don't even know anything at all about his opponent, to be honest. But everything for me next week's about that main event. I'm smelling an upset possibility next week.
Really?
Yes.
Well, we'll let the points leader kick it off first, and then Rob's not here, so I guess we'll have to swing it to you unless he pops in.
So what is the points situation just now? So read it out to us, Steve.
So currently, Andy, you are sitting. You're sitting 4 points behind Steve, who has 43, and then Rob is one behind at 42, and then I'm sitting at 32. But you remember how the Kentucky Derby went. I'm going to be coming up, finishing, and I'm going to bite you on your fucking head when it's finished.
All right.
All right.
I know nothing about the Kentucky Derby, so I'll believe your comments on that one.
I believe you don't know anything about that too. So we're in the main event. This is a good one. Odds are wide. They've been getting wider. Stephen Polton, you're gonna have to be betting $600 if you want to win 100 on him. Taking on Daniel Roman, former Titleist, great fighter, puts his punches together well. He has not been as active as Fulton, I don't believe. But I think this is another one, Steve, like the Santa Maria and Ramos fight, where I think the bookmakers are just a little too wide on this one, and they're not giving the guy credit.
They're not giving Roman credit, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying he wins, but I'm saying he's better than the odds would suggest.
Yeah, I agree to a point. I think he's definitely better than the odds suggest, but I don't think he wins. I think the bookies probably got it right about on this one. I think Fulton on points for me. I rate Roman. I think he's very skilled, talented fighter, but against the top level guys, he might just fall short here. I think he got a bit of a bad turn done to him after the fight with, was it Akhmadov or Mukavmedov or one of them, or Azerbaijanis or whatever it was. I get mixed up, but I thought he might have just about sneaked that one, or maybe even got a rematch or something. But the PBC have looked after him. Fulton should have maybe fought Figueroa in a rematch. Figueroa maybe move up after their fight, but Fulton's got dog in him. He's not the biggest puncher in the world, but he's fast enough. He'll sit in the pocket. He's got really good stamina, excellent engine, and he'll need it against Roman. He's going to push him all the way. But for me, the bookies will get it right. Nice, tight, close decision. But Fulton will be a worthy winner. Maybe 116, 112, maybe even a 115, 113 thrown in here. But no upsets for me. I think Fulton will win on points. And it's a really good, solid, tough fight, a tough defense for Fulton. No easy ones here. And he's maybe the best at the division. We'll find out soon. But yeah, I think Fulton will win on points.
Dave, what are you thinking going into this fight?
It's a good matchup, actually. Yeah, I have not seen too much of Roman, but I did think Fulton lost to Figueroa. Actually, it was. I mean, I'm saying it was a good fight. I think he was the only one really hurt in that fight, though, for me. And he's certainly not got the power, I don't think, to stop Roman. So you have to favor Fulton on points is the smart money, but it's a good fight. It's a good matchup. I think it's good stylistically too. I think it's interesting. It could create for a lot of flying hands. I think we're going to see a lot of punches thrown.
I think the styles do lead to that. Neither one of them big punchers, but they both throw in combination. It could be fun. Roman, not the banger that Figueroa is by any stretch of the imagination. Andy, you're sniffing upset. Tell us why.
I just think Roman's a better combination puncher than what Figueroa is, who's mostly more pressure, tries to get you against the ropes. I did think he made Fulton feel it a little bit as well. That said, I think Fulton can obviously outbox him, and as if he gets his jab off pretty well, doesn't hold his feet for too long, then Roman might have a problem trying to catch him. If he stands and trades with Roman, I think that's when it gets really interesting for both guys, because both will just start landing shots, and Roman always if it's just like automatic with him when he's throwing punches, he'll always drop a shot to a left hook to the body, like an uppercut version of it as well. So you just don't know if he could just catch him in the sweet spot, then Fulton could go down. Might you see that? As you say, Fulton's not really got that power as well. If you're putting pressure on him, that he can maybe turn the fight, especially at this level at least. And Roman's an ex-unified champion. He's not a bum. The problem with him is he's probably at that age now where I would probably say it is his last opportunity. He might not get another chance. Fulton probably, if he does win, will go on to maybe other unification fights, possibly. But I think I think he could possibly do it. I'm maybe going to talk myself out of it, to be honest with you. But I say Roman could sneak out a close competitive decision. If he can just match Fulton, if he can have his moments, maybe catch him against the ropes and just, make sure he lands a few good shots. He's got a good right hand on him as well. I think if he's able to match the work rate, and if Fulton can put a dent in him and he's still relentless, I think Roman can certainly pull off an upset here without doubt. So I'll stick with that one. I'll say Roman, either a split or a majority, but I think he takes a decision possibly.
Okay.
Bold pick.
It is very bold. Rob's not here yet. That's not bold at all. I'm going to agree with Steve. I'm with Steve on this one. I was pushing myself to go with Fulton by stoppage, but I can't do it.
Be surprised if Fulton stopped him. That'd be a statement.
Somebody's saying in the chat there actually that it's because of his movement. It's just the reason why he's not sitting on his shots, not generating the power. I don't know. He had moments in that fight with Figueroa when he's up against the ropes, holding his feet, and he's having to kind of duck and slide and try and hit the body. Was he really kind of? I didn't see anyway that when he was doing so, did they hurt Figueroa as he was standing in there? I don't think so. Who knows?
Alex Bellotti, Matty says that I've given Fulton the kiss of death. That would be me, who's top of the prediction league. Alex, are you referring to, or is that another Steve?
Yeah.
What about Joe Kennedy's prediction league, man? How's that going?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't check this week.
We should only do that every few weeks. We can't cause Rob that kind of disruption to his fucking mental state. Poor son of a bitch. Let's see here. And I think we'll have to get to Rob on that one when he gets on here, because we have wrapped that and we have to go down to Oz. I think it's going to be Saturday morning stateside, Saturday afternoon for y'all, Saturday evening in proper Australia. The card headlined by the unification battle between Kambosos and Devin Haney.
That'll be Sunday morning for us, I'm sure, won't it?
No, I don't think so, dude. Because I'm pretty sure that the
Boxrec have got it down for Sunday the 5th. So
what time is it in Australia? What time is?
Well, it's in Melbourne, so that's the east side, isn't it? So was that not 12 hours?
So they have it down for Sunday the 5th, and ESPN has it down for Saturday the 4th.
Yeah,
so
I'm having it at like 10 o'clock Australia time in the morning or something stupid like that, like they did with Horn Pacquiao.
Right, it's 20 past 6 in the morning there just now in Melbourne. It's 20 past 9 over here.
Mm-hmm.
This might be even tougher than picking the fight.
Yeah, I think that'll be probably early morning for us, I think, on Sunday. I'd imagine so. 6 hours for now. That's midday.
Their evening fights are usually on the when it's in the evening. Their normal evening fights, it's usually on at about 6 in the morning in the United States.
But you would think as well, with this having ESPN tied in, they would try and get it some sort of prime time move for American TV.
Right, boys, here we are. Sorry, Matty. So 2 p.m. Australian Standard Time, according to sportingnews.com. So 2 p.m. they're going to be in the ring, Australian Standard Time. So current AST.
Standard Time.
So current AST is 20 past 6, like you said. So
that's
2
like
o'clock.
10 my time. So 5 in the morning your time.
Yeah, it's going to be stupid time for us.
That'll be higher, surely. 5 o'clock in the morning.
Gonna do it. Yeah, so okay. Well, there you go. Thanks, International Dateline. That was very complicated. But before we get to the main event, let's hop around the kind of undercards that only Australia can provide. Got the Maloney brothers in action. Andrew against Alexander Espinosa over 8 threes. Then you got Jason against Aston Peliste over 10 3-minute rounds. Andy, I know you love the Maloney brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kelly Maloney.
Obviously, me, I completely forgot this card was on next week. I thought it was the following week. Absolutely forgot. As I was asking Dave, because I was expecting the Inoue Dare rematch was happening sometime soon, but it's not until the week after next. So I'm a wee bit behind the times here. David Nyker's on the card. Interesting to see. So again, Andrew Maloney against Espinosa. That'll be nothing great, I would imagine. I'm trying to remember if I've seen Espinosa before. I don't think I have. Well, he did. He fought Cash Farouk, actually. while back. Junior Fa, man, fighting Lucas Brown. I mean, that's just deplorable stuff. Faz, obviously, he had that comeback fight against Joseph Parker, didn't he? And Jason Maloney against who's it he's fighting?
Aston Palicte, Palicte.
Sounds like a Filipino. Don't know much about him, to be honest, either, mate. So I think the Maloneys have kind of like plateaued a wee bit as well. Maybe a couple of years back, I think both were, well, one was going through the Super Series. The other one was a belt holder. I think he had to go on the road into Chile. Almost got robbed as well. So again, for the guys, are just at this point, in my opinion, at least, I think they can make one more run at it, and if they don't become successful within the next year or two, I think that'll be it for them. I think they're quite high up in age now at this point, especially at round about those weights that they're fighting. There's no bantamweight or super flyweight, whatever it is they're fighting at. I think they've probably got another window of 18 months to get another title shot. Then it's probably gone for them, to be honest with
you. Yeah, and it's basically just filler, I think. But you know what, Steve, I'm so meh on the Maloney brothers. I might just bet just a couple of bucks on both their opponents, thinking I honestly think one of them is probably going to get upset.
No, man, that's degenerate stuff, didn't man? They're both going to win.
Do you think Helen Mirren will be up in the morning, Andy, to watch the Maloney brothers
I don't think so,
last
mate.
time?
We'll not be up anyway, even though we didn't pay for it, you know. You're sensible. We've got to get up in the morning with kids, you know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. I find it hard to root for the Maloney brothers. I mean, they're decent kind of fighters at a certain level. That Palicte, I was asking MB in the chat, I think he fought Ioka a few fights ago. That's maybe where I saw him. He might have turned up on a top-rank undercard, but I find it hard to get up for the Maloney brothers or to get up at all at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I think I'll let them go. But as for Junior Fa, I saw him fight before on a Showtime card, actually, and his hand speed, he made Dominic Brazil look like Johnny Tapia. I mean, he was pretty slow. I think he fought Parker. Didn't see that fight. He lost to Parker. It's the opponent. It's all about the opponent for me. I mean, I could get on board Fa if he was fighting a decent guy and it was going to be a bit of a tear-up. But Lucas Brown, I mean, his brain's mush, man. I know he rocks the Boxing Asylum T-shirt. Respect for that. But Brown shouldn't still be fighting, man. Fa, if he's got anything about him, should be sticking him out of there in 3 or 4 rounds. I can see why they've put him on because of the Aussie connection, blah, blah, blah. But I won't be getting up for this undercard. I'll be just about making up for the main event, I think, if our calculations are correct. So I'm going to have to sack it off, I'm afraid, Matty.
Lucas used to be durable once upon a time, but man, what do you think? I bet Fa takes him out in about 3 or 4.
Yeah, he's got to, if he's got any decency about him. Didn't Dave Allen stop Lucas Brown? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're up
furious.
against. Yeah. No, it's an absolute disgrace.
Just talking about riots and that, man. I've just seen the situation here in France at the end of the fucking football. Holy shit, man. So St. Etienne's got relegated. The fans came on the pitch, started throwing fucking firecrackers at the players. Absolute riot. I'm saying it to you.
That's why tennis fans are so much better, man. There ain't shit like that going on at the Roland Garros.
Oh, fucking brilliant. Yeah, just sent it.
Well,
holy shit, that's brilliant.
As I said, only that undercard is only the kind that Oz can provide you. God bless.
That's like the zone undercard next week, isn't it? That undercard. The zone undercard is like exactly the same as that ESPN one. Just trash.
Yeah, this is a bigger main event, though. This is a bigger main event. In the main event, George Kambosos, Devin Haney, lots of belts on the line. BoxRec doesn't list the WBC. I don't know what the fucking deal is with that. If it's up there, you got WBA Super, IBF, WBO. I don't know about the WBC on the line for that one. So this is a 6.5 month layoff for George Kambosos, which is the shortest one that he has had since the distance between the Richard Pena Mickey Bay fights. We have to remember that Haney went the distance with Gamboa and Linares. That keeps popping up in my head. But Dave, this is, I think, the most interesting fact coming into this fight. This is the 4th consecutive fight where George Kambosos has come in as an underdog. And this one is in his home country. Is this when his streak is finally over? Or is this one where they're vastly misplayed because not only is he good enough, but he's going to get the benefit of the doubt in his home country in some of these close rounds?
I think he should be the underdog. I think this is it's one of those closer fights, where you can it can go either way. Even like it's like 60-40 maybe 55-45, something close. But I'm just thinking stylistically here. I don't think Kambosos has the kind of explosiveness that's going to threaten Haney as much, like Linares did, with where he hurt him late and then had him staggering all around. I think that kind of power threatens Haney, but I don't think the volume of Kambosos will threaten him as much. I think he'll be able to move out of the way and kind of have Kambosos hitting air a lot of the time. Given he is at home, you would expect the cards to be in his favor, but I don't think it's going to be that far in his favor. It's a big fight. A lot of eyes are going to be on it. I don't think they're going to fix it and get nobody else coming back to Australia to fight. Props to Haney actually for going down there to fight. Taking on, he's going after the man in his hometown. So good for him on that. This is his big step up. I don't think we'll get a stoppage either way. If anyone stops anybody, I guess I would say Kambosos could stop Haney. I don't think so, though. I think this is definitely going the distance, and I think Haney probably favored split decision.
Interesting by the split decision. Steve, I don't know. I have a hard time agreeing with Dave on that, especially on the explosiveness category. Kambosos not the hardest puncher, but he throws from some weird angles. That right hand he flattened Tio with sure fucking surprised him. That exploded right on his noggin.
Yeah, Kambosos, I think he is quite an explosive fighter. He throws punches from different angles. He's relentless. He's very fit. He'll just keep coming constantly. And the fact he's at home as well, everything he does is going to be cheered. He's going to be roared on by his home crowd. I think it's a really good fight and a really close fight. But where I agree with the venerable hater Dave Lowback is I give Haney a lot of credit. It's unpopular to give Haney credit. He has his detractors. He's done things his own way. You mentioned the WBC title. We all laugh at him. He got an email to him. Lomachenko didn't have to fight him, but at the end of the day, Haney got the title that was available to him. Lomachenko moved up. Loma was supposed to fight Kambosos, went off to the war instead. I'm going to give Haney a lot of credit, actually, for going over to Australia, taking this fight. He made this fight happen, didn't price himself out of it, ditched Eddie, went over, agreed to the terms. Someone said that he's agreed to a rematch in Australia if he wins. He's agreed to everything to make this fight possible. He's without old Bill Cream Ben in the corner. His dad at the moment isn't allowed over as well. He's going to be on his own unless they agree to get his old man over there. He really is going into the lion's den, and you have to applaud people for that, no matter what you think of him. Stylistically, he's been boring at times. He hasn't always excited me. There's chances he could have put his foot down and got the win against people. But I think he's going to win this fight. I think the cards will be close because of the hometown factor. But I think he'll beat Kambosos. I love Haney's jab. It's a big, strong, powerful, pumping jab. And I think Kambosos is going to have a lot of trouble with it. He's fit as well. He can, he's tall. He can prod to the body. I think Haney's the better fighter out of the two. Like I say, I rate Kambosos. Never say die attitude. His fight against Lopez was class, and it's a real pick-em fight between the two of them, 50-50, 55-45. Two guys in their prime, undefeated, going in against each other. Props to both of them. Props to Haney for going to Australia, for agreeing to everything. Every roadblock, every obstacle was put in his way. He agreed to it to make this fight happen, and he should be applauded for that. And then put the winner in against Lomachenko. I think Haney's going to win on points. His jab will be the key. His jab will be the difference. And he'll have done it the hard way as well, so I'll give him a pat on the back for that.
So Haney on points for Steve. Andy, I'll tell you what, though. I take Steve's points. I take Steve's points, but look at all the things that he listed. Haney's corner and family can't get into the country. They're in Kambosos' backyard. And all these other factors of travel that make everything more complicated. And Steve falls on to Haney's jab. I don't think it's enough.
Well, I take your points, but also we don't know. We didn't know Devin Haney personally, right? So you just don't know. With all these issues in the background, trainers were coming into Australia. He's having to do it himself, by the sounds of it. You just never know. That may just give him that wee extra bit of siege mentality. He's not going to get any favours. He knows this, so he knows what he's going to do. He's going to go in there and box the perfect fight or get a knockout. I can always get the impression with the Kambosos Lopez fight that Kambosos had to fight his absolute maximum. And I think he'll need to do it again even though he's got the hometown backing. It might just come down to levels at the end of the day. Kambosos has played the game so far. He's done all the promotional stuff. He's done Joe Rogan. He's getting his profile up. So he's now got to go out there again and back up. He's in his hometown, or his home country at least, and he's got to do the business. I think Haney wins, to be honest with you. I don't think Kambosos hits as solid as what maybe Linares did. Linares had Haney doing a weird stanky dance, but Haney came back in as 12th round, I think it was, and put it back on him a wee
And
bit.
Haney couldn't fucking stop Linares.
Yeah,
everyone else that beat Linares has stopped Linares. I don't even so much remember him hurting Linares.
Well, I'll take that point as well. But as I say, look, the Gamboa fight wasn't exactly great shakes. He basically won the Linares fight. He got hurt badly toward the end. Judo Diaz fight, look, he won that pretty handily. I think he can do the same again. As Steve said, he's got a very good long jab, right? He's got freakishly long arms for the weight, so I think he'll do pretty well with that. I don't expect him to walk onto anything massive. I think he's going to be switched on. Kambosos will be hyped for it. Again, as I say, he's been on. You need to remember, Kambosos has been on the road for a good few years now to try and get the belts. I can't forget the last time he fought in Australia, but anyway, he's coming back home. Homecoming, all the belts as such. So look, it's a big moment for him as well, and he could maybe rise to the occasion. But I still think Haney isn't he my cup of tea to watch? And I put it that way. He's not exciting. There's no many fights I go back and watch of his, or if any, I've got to go back and watch it a later day because it's must watch, but it's just not like that. He's got his skill set. He can dog it out. He's decent. He's a good fighter, very good jab. Maybe not got the power as such, but I think he's got enough about him really to keep getting. Again, as I say, it just comes back to the fact is the fundamentals is boxing, and if Haney can keep it at that, I think he's got more than enough to beat Kambosos. I'll say Haney does it on points. And I notice as well, there's no any US or Aussie judges I think involved for this, so it'll be interesting to see who does get involved, because if you end up pulling in inexperienced judges for like some nearby region neighbourhoods like New Zealand or Thailand, Japan, whatever, that you just don't know what you're going to get in terms of scores. So it could come down to that as well.
I think you guys are missing the forest for the trees here. Haney has all these problems getting his people into the country, all the travel issues. Kambosos has been beating these people as an underdog, traveling around the world and having to really work to get the to get the right side of these scorecards in fights where they've tried to fuck him. And now he's going to be going home for his first defense to a raucous crowd against a fighter who doesn't have that much big power and relies on mostly negative to be able to win rounds.
Right, but think about this.
You think he's going to be you think Haney's going to be pulling the close rounds down there? Really? Really?
Who knows? If he's having the final say in some of those exchanges, you just never know. As I say, look, all he's got to do is stick to his boxing. Keep it simple. Jab, right hand, move off. Jab, right hand. I know people say that Kambosos has got underrated hands.
It's not that simple. Look at Tio tried to operate off of the fucking jab, and Kambosos cut ankles on him. He got underneath him through the right hand. Go back and watch the Mickey Bay fight, and how after 3 or 4 rounds, how Kambosos started getting the timing of that jab down and throwing a short right hand.
A lot of people thought Lee Selby beat Kambosos. If you take away the Teofimo Lopez fight, and I'm not saying I necessarily disagree with any of this, I think it's a fantastic fight, and I could easily see Kambosos winning. I just think Haney on the margins wins. But I mean, Kambosos has beaten Lopez. That's fair before the Lopez.
You guys are having faith. You guys are having faith in a fighter who is mostly negative, going thousands of miles away and picking a decision in someone else's back town. All Kambosos has to do is work. No, he can't change it up for this. Haney is what he is. Kambosos is a chameleon. I've seen him fight many different ways in his fight. Haney is a one-track operator. It's a good track, but he's a one-track operator.
Shoot me down then. Do you agree with me or no that Kambosos gave off that vibe that he had to fight his absolute peak or the maximum of his actual ability to beat Teofimo Lopez? Because I've never seen Kambosos fight like that, like the man in white who fought Lopez. The man was the fucking boss. The boss. And I've never seen him be the boss like that before in any other fights.
Well, look at that. Look at Kambosos' last 3 fights, and is he on an upward trajectory from Mickey Bay through Teofimo Lopez? Yes. Is Devin Haney on an upward trajectory going back from when he stopped the Russian cat in 4 rounds 4 years ago to beating Jojo Diaz? Fuck no.
So what you picking then?
I have George Kambosos on points.
Well,
Can we
again,
we have some passionate disagreement about the winner, but can we maybe agree on what kind of fight it will be? Volume, perhaps, against precision, some negative, positive against negative. I'm thinking we could see something ugly, akin to Josh Warrington against Barry Awad. What's his name? Kid Galahad. Something not too pleasant to watch. I think these styles are going to gel in a potentially unpleasant way. I think the volume of Kambosos, the negativity of Haney could clash, and we see a lot of nip and tuck rounds with a lot of missing by Kambosos and a lot of lack of activity by Haney.
but then what happens is, again, as I say, is if Haney turns up like Kambosos did against Lopez, I mean, everybody in the granny picked Lopez to beat Kambosos. Let's have it right.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody did. And then he comes out and does that 10-2. 1-10-2, right? You try to tell me that Haney, just for one night, can turn up and just put the heat on Kambosos, turn it on its head? Not once. Can he not be aggressive just for one night only? Can he not do it? No?
It's a great fight, boys. That's why, because a lot of the factors that we're talking about could play out. That's what makes it such a good fight. I'm not necessarily going to bat for Haney as a person or as a fighter because I love him. I just think that's the way the fight will play out. But equally, Kambosos' game plan could work too. I think it's a fascinating fight.
It is. It is. And I think a lot of the reasons it will go the way it is are things that aren't surface things. This is boxing things.
We'll see. We'll do a post fight. We'll do a post fight pod. What would it be?
10 o'clock in the morning.
10 past 6 in the morning.
Right.
Just make sure you turn up.
I want to double check those times. Is Sky showing this fight? It's ESPN. It's going in America, so with Sky will be showing it. Eh? Give me a second. I'm going to see what time this was at. Actually, because this is day my nut. Because if it is a decent hour, and I might get up.
Can't get a definitive time, Andy. To be honest on it.
Give me a second. If Sky are carrying it, then they should have it on their schedule. Hopefully, give me a second.
Live on Sky Sports. Yeah, it says live on Sky Sports.
Boxing on Sky. Here it is. Oh fuck me. They're saying 2 a.m. 2 a.m. in the UK. So what time's that? In Oz, that'll be what? That'll be 10 in the morning. Their time, roughly, give or take. What time's that in America then, Matty? So that'll
you said it's going to be 2 o'clock. It's going to be 2 o'clock.
6 p.m. Roughly be your time. 6 p.m.
I think. What time is it there? Right. What time is it there right now?
It's coming up 9:45.
9:45. So you guys are 7 hours ahead of me. So it'd be about 7 o'clock my time.
Yeah, Andy, 2 a.m. for the start of the show. So, yeah, about 5, what we said originally. Think about it. 3-hour undercard. There you go.
The start of the show. Yeah, so it'll be ended about 10. It'll be like last
10,
night.
11 o'clock. 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Davis and Romero were in the ring at about 10:15 last night, my time. So that's about the same.
So, again, they've done the time to basically to suit fucking American TV.
Yeah, fuck yeah. There's not a British guy in that fucking fight.
This is what I mean. See when I get Yanks complaining about European fights, big-ish European fights that are happening, and they're fucking bitching about it's going to happen at 3 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Fuck yous when you're moaning about it, because we didn't moan about it. We get up without fucking fail every other week to watch shite for America.
America, America, God shed his grace on thee.
He shot the schools. Oh,
no, don't go there. Don't go there. Fuck me. What a terrible.
Andy's going to get in trouble with Jim Gray.
Yeah,
he's gonna. Yeah.
We'll never forget.
Yeah. Pull out my Glock. No, Gervonta, don't pull out your Glock. Anyhow, still waiting on Rob. Don't know where he is.
He said 15 minutes to get his phone charged up. He was saying that.
He was up late last night watching the stuff live with me.
Yeah, we're like trying to hold up, like, because all I got left is the belly of the week. That's all, Steve. So we're like, I know this is a little bit just off the bases, but yeah, we're just kind of killing time for Rob, you know.
Waiting for Rob's like waiting for the main event in an Australian fight card, isn't it?
Yeah, it's rough, man. See, speaking of Rob, do you know what the difference is between an Irish wedding and an Irish funeral? One less drunk person.
Should we just get on to Value of the Weeks and be done with it?
Please.
But Rob isn't here to give his
between that and the school shootings, I think we should move on.
Christ. I guess, yeah. If you want to, Steve, I'd love to wait for Rob, but I got nothing. And the further you let me go down the joke line, the worse it's going to get for everybody.
Yeah, you're right about that. Let's get on to Value of the Weeks. I think. What are we on? 476? Is it, Matty? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last of my recollection. At times, it feels like we're up to 477 though.
We might be by the end of this one. Anyway, 476. Yeah, Andy's here. Matty's here. Hey to Dave Lowback. Great to have him on the call with me. Steve, leading us into the Value of the Weeks this weekend. The main man, Don King. Evil cannot die. Don King cannot be killed. And he's bringing out a promo video for his upcoming show. Let's have a look at it, shall we?
Saturday, June 11th, live on pay-per-view. Don King Productions presents The Fight for Freedom and Peace. Undefeated Trevor the Dream Bryant takes on Daniel Dynamite Dubois for the WBA Heavyweight Championship. Plus title fights featuring undefeated heavyweight Dakari Scott taking on Jonathan Guidry. Cruiserweight champion Johnny Langston plus NABA welterweight champ Trayshawn Wiggins as he defends his belt against Travis Castellon. Plus light heavyweight sensation Ahmed El Bialy. Contact your cable or satellite provider today. The Fight for Freedom is live.
What the
Did
fuck?
Don King edit that himself?
Jesus, man, that got done on a ZX Spectrum
He's
there.
played as Blinder, lads, man. Everyone's talking about it and sharing it. This is classic Don.
It sounded like a Pac-Man tune in the back of that.
Are they trying to sell us a boxing match, or are they trying to sell us Tecmo Bowl on fucking original Nintendo?
Jesus. 64?
Oh, that's class from
That's
Don,
horrific,
man.
eh?
Nah, he's done it on purpose, hasn't he? He's done it on purpose to get into the Value of the Week, like our old friend Audley.
Value of the Week. What was that? Wait, somebody said you narrowly just missed out on Value of the Week, mate. Was close. You and Bean. What Bean? Tell me more. What does that mean? I'm clueless what you're talking about, buddy. What does that mean? Share some insights with me. Value of the Week. Hello. I just got to let you know.
I think he might have snagged it at the end there.
Oh, good old Audley. No nominations for Audley this week, but we like playing that one anyway. First one for our old friend, Tracy Morgan.
Steve,
What about that, Andy?
I want to know about your BMX, mate. What is that BMX you've got? Is it a Harley Davidson or whatever it is? Fucking super bike. What the
Maybe
fuck?
just one of those chains was all that was needed, Andy.
I mean, he has to. I bet he's going to go to a chiropractor every other week if he's wearing that shit, man. How's he able to stand up?
Look at his mate. He's not quite as
he's
impressive.
Like, that he's somebody's twaddling shit or something like that. But anyway, he's like Mr. T there. I pity the fool, put on my jewellery. The other guy as well, next to him, he's the same, but he's got a wee bit more brains about him. Like, I'll not go too hardcore. Fucking hell.
It's probably all Spanish gold, Andy. Probably only weighs a few grams.
It's probably just he's probably like
Green
like
neck.
Exactly, nickel chains that's been spray painted gold. You know.
Well, you never know. It might have been made out of the same stuff as this one from I Am the Renovation. Deontay Wilder. Wilder finally got that body on his record. He's got the statue. I didn't put a picture of the statue. He's got a statue created for him as old Wilder there with the body on his record.
I thought he met a woman for Saudi Arabia there for 2 seconds.
It's one.
Why did he pose for a picture with it when it's all covered and wrapped up? It looks terrible.
I've actually I saw a picture of it, and they actually did a good job on that. Far better than the Holyfield.
Better than Ronaldo one, anyway, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones, actually.
Ronaldo had a stroke in his one, I think.
I've never seen the monument to Ronaldo.
Yeah, mate, it's horrific. Go and fucking Google it now.
Oh, I will.
Well, smart investments. Florida man horrified when NFTs he bought because Floyd Mayweather told him to, cratered in value. This basically financially crippled me. After he spent $12,000 on Floyd Mayweather endorsed NFTs, I don't know, worthless.
What a fucking muppet. He thinks Floyd Mayweather's worth doing smart investments, you fucking prick. You deserve to get bent air, by the way. Holy fuck. Even the Claymaker couldn't get any people to do that, man. Fucking hell. You fucking puppet.
Oh dear, good old Floyd.
Oh, fuck
Good
me.
Floyd. Clever update from Bob Smith. By the way, it was Iron Fisted Champion sent the last one in. Bob Smith sent this on Instagram. Clev tweeted out or Instagrammed out, whatever it is, just an humble, grounded Jewish street kid with 10 GCSEs, 3 A levels, a BSc honours, a mathematics degree, a multi-million-pound property portfolio, a Commonwealth, British, European, 2-time world champion professional boxer with a nice big cock.
He likes to promote that he's got a big, massive wanger, like, apparently. So, yeah, big Clev. Clev the G, as he calls himself, isn't it? Clev the G, some man.
Worshipping with the dog last time.
Oh, mate. I swear to God, man. Some of his videos that he posted on IG is incredible. Sitting there with the biggest Moroccan woodbine you could fucking find, smoking it out his ears or stuff like that. And he's by the end. Yeah, a real piece of work. So it's all good. Oh, we don't know Wales in July, actually. So we'll maybe bump into him, maybe get a wee reefer on, by the reef. We'll never know. We'll see.
So Andy, I see. I hate to bring this up. The sculptor took another shot at the Ronaldo bust, and it looks way better this time. But you're right. The first one looks like he's either a spastic or they caught him mid-orgasm.
That's an endorsement from Matty.
I think Rob's trying to get on there by him. He's just putting in the chat there.
There he is.
About fucking time!
I know.
Speaking of Moroccan woodbines.
47 minutes late. Oh, Steve,
sorry about that, guys.
What are your predictions for this week, Rob?
Yeah.
Fucking who's fighting? I'm still fighting my own demons.
Oh, is it? You got the fear? You got the fear this week, Rob?
I've been on late a few times. I don't think I've ever joined just as we joined Bellew of the Week. So look forward to another hour, listeners, because I'm only getting started.
Put on the dark fruits like Dorian Darsh.
Oh, I was on a stag night yesterday, wasn't I? So fucking I went better than my own one, by the way. So I lasted the distance, but distance fight at my age, you know what I mean, takes a lot out of the body.
The last time I did a distance fight was after New Year, mate, and I quit after that, mate. I just know.
I quit on my stool this time last year, so Ricky Hatton with the comeback here, back in town now. I'm back in business, so I'm just after having a bit of a cure there now as well. Fucking.
I wouldn't quit, mate, because it's the same as you see if you need to throw up with alcohol. I'm too tight. I wouldn't bring it up. I've got to swing. I've got to fight through it, mate.
All the time.
I've got to fight through it, you know.
Yeah, no.
To death.
Well, easy come, easy go with me. It's in and out.
In and out.
In and out. So, so I was actually I watched the fight live because every time I go drinking, I always wake up early for some reason. So I woke up at like just as Spike O'Sullivan almost did the impossible.
Lasted the distance.
Yeah, exactly. In a title fight. It's kind of fucking some world title fights.
Hey, by the way, I just remember something about the Spike fight. He got punched so hard for that first knockdown, right? It was a delay shot. Did you notice his tash? The twirly
straightened
bit.
out.
The twirly bit of his tash actually had folded downwards. So he had one pop up, one line down. It's fucking brilliant.
Because his mustache was sad.
The Johnny L. Sullivan tash that he's got.
Sake. So what's the fight? Yeah, what's the Davis fight? Let's not go there. We're in the middle of Bellew. Let's keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
I'll put a question to you, right? Because we've had a big heated debate on here. Cambosa's Haney. Who are you picking?
Well, let's wait. So let's let Steve get through the values, and then we'll let Rob close it out. We'll let Rob close it out this week. We'll finish the values, and then we'll let Rob. Close it
give
out.
me a second. Give me a second for my head to clear there. Give me an 8 count. I'll be.
Rob's like Rolly right now, so we'll move on with the Bellew of the Week. And hopefully he'll straighten himself out.
Has he got some bass knocked into his voice?
By the end of it. As long as he doesn't storm off. Here, Andy.
What's his fucking obsession with Prince, Raleigh, by the way? He came to the outfit was so weird, the ring outfit. It was purple, it had like Prince symbols on it, and then he turned up in a Purple Rain t-shirt after he got baptized in the waters in Minnetonka anyway with a left hook, didn't he?
Oh, it's Raleigh. Yeah. What do you expect?
So that's what happens when doves cry.
It was a soft stoppage, though. It was a soft stoppage, apparently.
No
shit.
He didn't even know that was his dad on the way back to the ring. He's
like, who are you? Oh, you got knocked out.
It was the saddest exit since Brona Madonna, wasn't it, man? He was like crying on the way back to
I felt a bit bad for him, I'll be honest. I did feel a bit bad for Ollie because he boxed well. Well, I would say well, but he was winning the fight, I thought, up until he got stopped. Anyway, sorry, go on to a Bellew of the Week there.
No problem. We'll carry on with Bellews. We'll get to Rob at the end. Steve Kim here, Andy. You nominated this one. DAZN and Matchroom Sports just stepped up and gave the people what they yearned for the most. The biggest remaining fight of 2022. Respect.
Oh, this racist man does my nut, and I swear to God, I know nobody. Right? I think I can talk for quite a few people who watch boxing, right? I don't think anybody has yearned for the fucking third fight between Canelo and Golovkin. Not one person that I know apart from Steve Kim, and I don't want to know him either. Prick, wanker. Who wants to see this fight more than anybody? Not me. So.
Gennady
Anyway,
Golovkin.
Aye, exactly. And Eddie Hearn. Total
Eddie
bum
Hearn,
spider,
yeah.
that's
Eddie,
Steve Kim,
yeah.
by the way.
Eddie,
Steve
Eddie.
Kim the bum spider, that's what we're going to call him from now on.
Monitor lizard.
He's wanting that Eddie Hearn payday. He needs that DAZN money.
I tell you what, even for as little
Even
people
then.
want to see Canelo Golovkin 3, even less people want to hear fucking Steve Kim's opinion about it.
Aye.
Cretin, isn't he?
I'm not even going to say what he normally says that, but it would be justified, but I'm not going to bother.
Nomination for Steve Kim there.
Woo,
Here's another one from you, Andy. Ryan Garcia bet Earl Spence $20,000 that Rolly Romero would beat Javonta Davis.
Look he's been all limp wristed there, shaking fucking Spence's hand in that there, eh? Dumbass.
He looks like a marionette, doesn't he, Garcia, man? Look at the state of him.
He looks like a mannequin, actually. That's what it is, eh? Just it's come to life.
One of them dummies, them ventriloquist.
If you want to run that back there, listeners, if you're listening back on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, you'll hear Maddie call somebody a dumbass for losing a bet.
20 grand, eh? 20
That was actually Hater Dave. It was.
Oh, shit. Bollocks. ruin the fucking joke.
20 grand. But I think that's all right. I bet
Ryan
you anybody.
Garcia looks like Errol Spence's houseboy.
Yeah, exactly. I
answer the door. I grab my ankles. That's what I do.
Go fetch the papers, you wee bitch. But I'll tell you what, right? So he's bet 20 grand with Errol Spence. Does anybody know that Errol Spence spends 20 grand in a night out? He's spending on that Henny. That's what he's doing right now.
Was he out last night with me? He's like, fucking woke up this morning, hit the bank. I was like, holy fuck.
He didn't give you a lift home, did he, by any chance?
Might be where me 20 grand went. Actually, I quickly digress. I was on the way home last night. I found a wallet, right? Obviously, Champions League night. Fellas are out steaming. I'm going home, eat the chicken kebab. The chicken is sliding out of it. It ended up being a vegetarian kebab. Was always left was the fucking lettuce. And I just looked down and I saw a wallet. I said, fucking look down. I had some young lad safe pass. Like, you need him to get on the building site here. I was like, oh, he's going to need that for work. Like, had a quick look at it. Any money? $100 US. What was he doing that in Wexford? I should have just stole that on principle, but I returned it to him today, like the fucking good Samaritan I am. Like,
you should have tested for cocaine that one.
US currencies bring it downtown in case fucking shit is getting bad in Wexford, man. Cost of living's through the moon.
Yeah, well, with your good buddy Daniel going down, the best thing you're going to be able to do is lick US currency because you ain't going to be getting any coke for a long time there.
We'll never forget.
We'll never forget. Oh, what a prick. What a prick move that was. Fucking asshole. You want to see me when I was watching that live? I couldn't. I didn't have the energy to fucking live tweet you. We'll never forget. Asshole.
You were being, wasn't it, Rob?
He put him to bed, though, didn't he? Eh? Fucking tucked him in as well. Good night.
You need to get James Toney get back up there. That's what you need for Jim Gray. You need James Toney in those situations to go, don't walk up on me, dog. I don't like
questions. Don't give me any badass questions. Give me Burger King. I want milk, baby. Give me milk, baby.
Yeah. We'll never forget.
That was a bit of a strange one from Jim. Tyson Fury responding to Anthony Joshua told students he would crack their jaw after being heckled about Tyson Fury. I had this effect on the best of them, but Rocky Ali jumped in and said, you're the one who rejected the fight versus AJ initially, then pulled out of it when it was ready to be made, and now supposedly retired without facing the other top two fighters in the division.
Fucking Rocky Boy needs to go into Eddie Hearn to find out what's happening with this Usyk rematch, because what I'm hearing is like very, very on the fucking edge. You're going, no, it's not happening. So we'll wait and see. I'm here at autumn time, like I heard of a couple of weeks ago, and it's still not been signed yet. Eddie's going to come out and start saying, we're a fortnight away, 10 days away again. I'm telling you, we heard it for a fucking year with Joshua and all this fucking pish with Fury. Heard it for a year. A couple of weeks away, boys, a couple of weeks away.
One of them students is a late replacement for Usyk.
Did you guys see that Netflix is doing a documentary about Fury?
No.
Yeah, they're following him around and filming it too. But the working title is "Kicking Asses, Kicking Taxis: The Tyson Fury Story."
Yeah, there we go. You put up on ice, sync that one up.
Loves to drink, does Tyson.
But they really are making a documentary.
But for Netflix,
it's kind of all in the delivery, Matty. Really, you kind of fucking, I don't know, something jumbled there in the delivery. Get back to it.
Hey, they can't all be they can't all be winners, Rob. You should know that. You're Irish.
Kelly's on the knee again. Taking a 10-8 round here.
Oh, legs are shaky.
I'll tell you what, Matty's been on fire right by.
Yeah, Matty's not taking any prisoners tonight, Rob. You
He's
need
been
to
trying
watch
to have a
one.
go at me and all. Actually, about my pick about fucking Devin Haney.
Yeah.
I ran
ready
out
for a
of
battle
weed.
now, by the way.
I ran out of weed an hour and a half ago.
I've got plenty here.
I had a fucking brilliant Untouchables fucking comeback there, but I thought with the climate, I would probably leave it till after the fucking pod. I just don't think I had nothing for
him. Sky Sports Boxing tweeting out our favourite ever ringside clash, the James DeGale George Groves
I love
rivalry,
that.
really peaked at this moment. And then the girls got stuck in. First, the Groat, another fighter
Whoa.
living off an amateur win. This is the UK culture, I see. Savannah Marshall, you learn from the best, I see. And then the blonde bomber, Ebbs, jumped in. Now she's won a world title. She says the Brits love the amateurs. A lot of the amateurs turn pro and instantly feel entitled. Don't
She's
work
not
like that,
world
baby.
title.
It's a different game in all aspects.
Yeah, she's a world champion now, mate.
That's
Oh,
them told. That's them
fuck
told.
you been? But Dave, would you?
No, I'm a married
you,
man.
you pervert.
That's a
Married man.
disgrace.
I'll ask you again in 5 years, by the way, if you're still married.
The Groat would crush him like a hazelnut. Hey, Dave.
What do you think, Dave, with the wig on?
Nice
Are
work
you
if you can get it. Put the wig on, Dave.
That's what you see. You was at the wig, the goat's wig.
Hey, Rob, do you realize that before you got here that I had more hair than the entire panel combined?
Pubic hair.
What, like tonight?
But you talking pubic hair here, Matty, or chest hair, or whatever?
Whatever it is, I'm part Italian. I grow it where I fucking want.
I bet Donnie's got a lot of anal hair because he loves to do anal, doesn't he?
Well, if you like to do anal, you'd want to wax that shit off, wouldn't you?
No, you don't, man.
Look,
You wanna-
fuck this fucking digression. Let's
You
go.
Quick,
You don't want
Fuck
that.
is talking about?
back to Javonta and Jim Gray or something more palatable.
Yeah.
more palatable than ass, Steve?
I think
more
it's-
palatable than ass?
I think it's lies, but I think there was some shooting at the Barclays Centre last night. I think it's been disproven so far. But it got
there's-
wrecked anyway.
There was something going on there, definitely.
Liverpool fans, apparently.
Slack the Planet is nominated. The WBC, and here we go. WBC welterweight champion Earl Spence presented a special recognition to the winner of the All-Star race at the Texas Motor Speedway.
It's going to be
He
a
was-
fucking parody. Surely, Christ, man.
He was on to the agent, wasn't he? This is a fucking wind-up, man, isn't it? Come on, what date is it? It's not April Fool's, is it?
I mean,
Drag
fucking
racing.
Drag racing. It should be like Monster Derby, I think, actually. That's what it should be. Fucking hell. Fucking, what do you call these guys? Did they land speed tests?
Next thing you know,
Fucking hell.
Devin Haney's going to be presented a special belt at a pie eating contest. Probably by email.
They could have fucking. I know a guy who would have been available to do that if they could find him. He'd turn up to present a fucking title to somebody, a vacant title.
Oh, it's got to be the bomber.
We'll never forget.
We'll never forget the bomber.
That's insane. Here we
Rolly,
go.
I exposed
Rolly,
Javonta
man.
Davis. I won every single round. He was up on your cards, Rob.
Hey, but
Who's
wait
up
a minute. Wait a minute though. He said that he was winning 6 rounds. He got fucking knocked out in the 6. How did he win the 6th round and get knocked out?
Until that point.
Pish.
Apart from when he tripped over a left hook, he was winning. I know he was winning the fight. There's no doubt about it. And like
No more than
to
3
move. Like Davis wasn't doing much. Like, and as much as the Showtime were fucking having a fucking whack off about his movement on the back foot, movement on the back foot in this fight and against Cruz is not that good. So it opens up the lightweight division again. I still think he's probably the leader of the pack. But I'll tell you what, Teofimo Lopez, not that he'd fight at fucking 35 again. He'd give him a right fight, moving him back to the ropes and that. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, but
Rob, you're not
was
all
ahead.
in.
I've got
I'm
to say,
Team
like,
Tank, man.
So I'm saying,
I
but
am.
I think Davis is getting a lot of unjustified shit the last 2 fights. I mean, Cruz gives anybody a tough night's work. And Romero,
Yeah, but Raleigh don't give anyone a thought. I don't think Raleigh gives it. After looking at Raleigh last night, I don't think he gives anyone a fucking good fight. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
think he had
has
He was
got
big,
that bit
but
about him. He's got that bit of awkwardness about him. The power, I think, power keeps him in fights, or it gets his opponents kind of a wee bit kind of wary about his
He was
shot.
I just
awkward
think
to deal with.
I've been, you know yourselves, I've been fucking banging the fucking drum for Javante since Pedraza, really. But he's has he beaten a top level guy yet? He's won 3
No, that's
titles
where
at
we're
different
at.
weights.
That's where we're at now. We need to see him now. This is the moment. He's a free agent. He's got his pick of opponents now.
No excuses now. We need to see him in, like,
he has got a
give
bit
him
of
them
power
2
behind
fights.
him. He's got the power. He's got a bit of A-side appeal as well. He's doing big ticket sales, so he's got a bit of bargaining power. So, but we've now got to have these fights. We've got to start seeing the big fights now. So after Haney Cambosos,
this is really
Like-
funny, guys.
To quote Ellerby's been calling him like a pay-per-view attraction, hasn't it? Like, so he is an attraction. Like, he has definitely got a massive fan base, but and I think they've been careful with him because he is an asset. Like, you got to protect your assets or whatever. Like, but it's time to, like, I had no problem with the Raleigh fight because there was a bit of fucking bad blood between the two of them. They know each other from the money team gym and all that. No problem. Like, well able to sell that fight. It's a watchable fight, really entertaining. But as a fighter, it was fucking shite, man. It was a shit fight, like, up until the knockout. Like, so I just want to see him fighting a top guy so he has his, like, defining moment in his career. Because if at the moment now, could you pick one? Like, probably not. Like, Pedraza's probably still his best win, isn't it? So anyway, sorry, Bar. Anyway, go on. With
No, you're fine. Matty, I was going to mention one thing to you actually regarding scoring. Steve Farhood, he never seems to be in the arena anymore. He seems to be on some kind of dodgy internet connection that keeps on cutting in and out. And
it's like, I tell you what, mate. It's like Andre Ward. Andre Ward's never. I think that's something to do with the vaccine. I'm positive
possibly.
of it.
Farhood's always hard to hear. I think he must be at home.
Could be. I mean, I think
sensitive.
it's just a lot cheaper to have him be from home, I imagine, right? Like, you know, they fucking reimburse him for the cost of the fucking pay-per-view or something like that.
It must be it must be some kind of personal decision. There's no way they would scrimp. He's been going to Showtime cards as long as ever, and they've got the money coming out of their arses. They'd pay him all right. I don't think it's scrimping. It must be some personal issue, I think, Matty, like Andy says.
Maybe. It could be. New York has different rules with vaccines than everyone else. Could be. I don't know.
It's pish, man. 2-tier society.
Yeah, tears.
Michelle Joy Phelps, we all know what tier she should be in. Plenty of tiers. If you're like me and you have a genuinely interest in paranormal stuff like ghosts and UFO related topics, you're going to enjoy my podcast.
Man.
Behind the Ghosts will feature guests from the boxing community. What the Phelps is that? We'll feature guests from all fields. #podcast. Matty, we were ahead of the time. Remember when I asked you about if you've ever seen a ghost? Now she's on board.
Well, there you go. There you go. I'm not that interested in it. I just had a couple weird fucking things happen to me. But if that's what she wants to do, go right on ahead.
Would you, Matty?
Would I?
Aye.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Shop a 2x4 though.
Yeah. I'm down. Yeah, if she wants to talk about ghosts or whatever, I'll listen to her. That's cool.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about these paranormal UFO conspiracies. You're all into your conspiracies, you know.
I'm not into that shit anymore,
even
man.
Dominic Henry was
down the middle now.
What's his name? Dom McNamara was pulling you up on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, who?
What's his name? Steve. Wee Dominic. What's his name?
Oh, I haven't seen. Oh, Dominic Henry.
Dominic Henry, aye. He's fucking put up a wee poll for you last week, Matty, about what you'd like to talk about most on the podcast. Convoluted parlays, I think, was one of them. Conspiracy theories, your bong, and something else. I forget what the other one was at this point.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
What the Phelps is that? What the Phelps is that?
That's banter, eh?
Fucking hell.
I think she was up all night thinking about that.
Oh, sign me up anyway. What the Phelps is that?
I might give that a listen, actually, Matty. You should get on Chicks with
Behind the
Dig.
ghosts.
I should get her on Chicks with Dig.
Yeah, get on Chicks with Dig, man.
Yeah, I should. I absolutely should.
Do you think there's life? Do you think there's life out there, Matty, on other planets?
Yes, I think the universe is so vast that it would be absolutely narcissistic for us to believe that there's not some other sentient fucking being out there.
I see there's bodies getting dropped out of the chat here. I don't know what's going on, but there are people getting banned left, right and centre. So I've not been following it. What's been happening here in the chat here?
Oh, is there?
James, Jim McDonald, let us know what's been going on here.
Do you think the UFOs have been here?
Matty?
An unidentified flying object is an object in the sky that you don't know what it is. So by definition, I'd imagine, yeah, there are
Lads,
UFOs.
save it for behind the fucking ghost, will you? What do you think this is?
Rob, here's the thing. Like, we're a little bit early. We're a little bit early right now because we're having to fill time because we were waiting on somebody and dragging this shit out. And you kind of threw off our fucking old synchronicity here.
Rob's taking the blame. But can you imagine what it's going to be behind the ghosts? So how do we deal with the Middle East problem? We fucking nuke it. That's what she's going to say. No, exactly. That's what she'll say. Oh, just nuke it if they're based. Remember that pish she came out with the Middle East comment about ISIS? Just nuke them. Fucking hell.
She wanted to nuke the entire Middle East. She was making,
before she started getting freebies over there.
A strategic freebie. There's a lot of fucking stuff going on over there. But allegedly, anyway, let's.
Yeah, maybe
let's
we should
not go down this rabbit hole. For the love of God.
Okay.
No signs of intelligent life anywhere near. Anyway, move on to this next one.
No, it's a life form anyway.
Breaking news on Sky Sports Boxing. Savannah Marshall and Chrissy Shields have signed to fight each other in an undisputed middleweight title clash in early September. That's more like it, says Peter Fury. Finally, we have a fight now to work. Mark Hawkins says, this has got to be the equivalent of Ali Frazier. I know all the work Savannah is doing in changing the perception of women boxing. So big can make sure she brings all the belts home. Leah's nominated.
That is the type of comment I expect for that Stacey character, that pervert. What's his name? Stacey something.
Yeah.
You know what person I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can't remember his surname.
Fucking maggot.
Is there a new pervert in boxing Twitter that's replaced Ray Pop?
Oh, aye, mate. There's tons of them just now. Aye. Yeah, that's
half of them in the chat.
The Ebony Bridges fan club.
You've got Gareth A. Davis kicking about there as well, mate. It's like an old watch with him now.
Tell us about the tattoos.
The tattoos. She seemed trying to get a picture of him in the fucking dais, man. Holy shit. He's like a professional fucking... Yeah, professional pervert, basically. Fucking get these pictures and that, you know.
Dave, have you not heard about the Ebony Bridges Appreciation Society group on Facebook?
No, I'm shocked to hear that she has a world title.
It's a belt, mate. That's all we can say about it.
Here's the thing about the Ebony Bridges Appreciation Society and sex offenders. If it was a Venn diagram, it's basically a circle.
UFOs to sex offenders.
Sorry, we gotta put a disclaimer in there. He didn't mean, he meant potential sex offenders, not convicted, obviously.
because if they were, they probably wouldn't be allowed on social media.
I wish you had still had that video of him taking that picture. Was it Sky Nicholson? I think it was.
Oh yeah.
I wish you still had it on the drum roll there. But it was just the manner that he did it. He's like, he turned around, picked up the camera, straight in his shot, took the picture, back again. He was like the Repo Man, and the Repo Man for WWE. He was like him. Sleek it bastard. That's what he looked like. Sleek it.
Hey there, you with the gad face.
Come up to my place, I'll rip them off.
on the subject of Ebony, a former opponent, I'm not sure who she was being interviewed, and she said Ebony hits like a 300-pound black man who did a 20-year stint in Rikers Island.
That's terrible.
Fuck.
Was that her ex-fella that she only had to fucking compare it to, or what's the crack?
That's a desperado for a retweet, that one. Is it Rob? What's his name? Oh, it's a Rob. Oh, no.
Helby had said, these women she fights must have Oliver McCall chins, and then he photoshopped, figured out why she rarely gets the KO. She only fights granite chin boxers. There she is with Triple G, Oliver McCall on the left, and then
Rocky Marciano. Who's the one on the right there? Who's the third
I'm
one?
not sure. I don't know.
It's no Marciano.
Amazing.
That was so specific that you almost have to wonder if that wasn't a direct experience. Like, yeah, I felt that pretty similar. You know, my ex-boyfriend used to fucking knock me around.
Oh, it'd be great if like we didn't have panelists fucking telling the same joke the other fella told 30 seconds beforehand. Fucking hell. Is he listening or what? What's going on?
Oh, dear. Come on, boys. On the final one.
Oh,
I don't always understand you.
Off the wall in 10 rounds with that, by the way.
Oh, just after hearing the fucking missus telling me that, so now I fucking come onto the pod and you're fucking telling me as well. Fuck's sake.
Rydell Booker against Otto Wallin. As I said to you earlier, Andy,
It's the 300-pound man from Rikers
caught a picture of Rydell Booker and said he would belly flop somebody into chaos. I mean, that's the
Look at Demetrius Salita though in the middle there. Look how
I
fat
know,
he's
yeah.
got.
He's not
Two boys go to lunch together, are they?
Look at the size of that face. Looks like a size for a fucking football man. Look at the size of it. He's even got a beard that hide the double chin he's got.
Who iced him before?
Absolute
spectacular knockout.
Wasn't he a
wasn't it?
super featherweight or something, Salita?
No, I can't
he's
remember.
not now.
He was a junior welter.
It looked like Khan just tapped him a couple times on the chin and he went down.
Cotto fucking remember Cotto beat him on one leg and after McCanty's like, nah, you're not gonna get beat like that, son. Get back on your feet.
That was Yuri.
That was Yuri
Foreman.
Foreman.
Sorry,
That's a
All
different
Jews
fighter.
don't look alike, Andy.
Sorry. Well, I didn't think Nathan Cleverly was a Jew. Was
That's what Nathan Cleverly. You're thinking about
he was a Jew. I thought he was a fucking Christian.
He's
I don't know.
And he was like that scene in fucking in The Office UK, wasn't he? He's not him, the other one. The other one.
Wait till you see Cleverly's old man, Andy, then you'll find out.
Oh, I've seen him, my bald-headed, nicking on the woman and stealing all the jewellery.
Yeah, Salita's got his man strength now, so there you go. That's a nomination for Rydell Booker anyway. Any nominations from you, Matty? That's all the ones I've got this week. Any nominations, Matty?
I got nothing this week, Steve.
No problem, Andy. Anything from you, please?
Just a couple, mate. Poor old Rolly concussed there last night in his fucking post-fight press conference when he decided he was going to speak to the press, actually, because he refused to speak to Showtime. I heard he was maybe in a wee bit of downbeaten, mood, tears apparently, I'd heard. But anyways, he said after the fight, I won all 6 rounds of that fight, I exposed him, we need to run that shit back. So he won the 6th round that he got knocked out in, and apparently Rolly exposed Tank Davis, whereas I think Rolly was the one that got exposed, to be honest with you. Squaring up like that, chin in the air and gets fucking sparkled. But yeah, it was fantastic. And one for John Skipper. Now, I know he's no kind of based in boxing, but John Skipper was the guy who gave Eddie Hearn Greedon $1 billion. So he's basically come out and says that the former ESPN president John Skipper isn't so sure Tom Brady will be worth the $375 million contract with Fox. So as I say, this is the guy that gave Eddie Hearn $1 billion on a fucking unknown app. So I'll leave it at that. So one for John Skipper.
Andy, I just got to say on the Raleigh subject, though, I mean, it's kind of good that somebody else exposed him after years of him exposing himself.
Yeah, I suppose, having to do that to like some of the folk, it's just unreal. I think that's all I've got, mate. I don't think I've got anything else at this point. Maybe I've got one for Eddie possibly kicking about. I'm trying to remember what it was. Actually,
how could we get Eddie this week?
There was something he came up with. What was it? There was something they came out with. I'm trying to remember what the fuck it was. Go to Rob and Dave and come back to me. I'm fucking certain he came up with something this week. I'm fucking struggling just now.
Just before we go to Dave, actually,
Madonna as well, looking like a fucking candle wax. Jesus Christ, man! What a state she's looking in these days.
I hope her bank doesn't do fucking facial recognition, by the way. There's no hope of getting into her account.
I had to rewind it. I had to rewind it twice to find out if it was actually her. Oh, aye, mate! I've got one for the Baltimore massive riots in the fucking crowd, right? Literally within round 1, they've actually wrecked the Barclays Centre. Like there's
really
escalators
bad.
being fucking. It's like Liverpool fans have been into town there.
Omar was in there and everything, wasn't he?
Aye, Omar.
Actually, Andy, I've found one on Twitter while you were saying just caught now. The BBC were reporting on the fight. Gervonta Davis beats Rolando Romero to retain the WBA title. Fair enough. Davis has won all 27 of his professional fights, including 35 by knockout. So I know he hits hard, but
that's people research then, eh?
And that's math.
35 knockouts.
I think that's because he knocked 7 shades of shit out of Raleigh with the fucking.
That's what you call pure mathematics on crack. So Nathan Cleverly type fucking country there.
So ready to Nathan, thanks.
Fucking Eddie, man. Eddie's come out with something this week. I did my nothing.
Go and have a look, Andy, while I get the other boys in, and then we'll see if we can find it. Always like to sneak Eddie in. Dave, great to have you back with us. Any Belly of the Week nominations?
None for me. I think you covered them all. I was going to put in Tracy Morgan, but yeah. I think it's going to have to be for... Are we taking votes yet?
No, just nominations.
Okay.
Yeah.
No
Hold
problem.
on, you overachiever.
Oh, flip me, you're getting carried away now. Rapping Rob Kelly, any nominations from you, please?
No, I'm sure he's got the AJ staring down the university students
Yeah, I
window,
got
haven't
that
you?
one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fucking hell. Brilliant, man. Brilliant. See, this is what we needed from the start. He'd be way more likable if you had to just let him off the leash from the start. He's fucking now he's got to be himself now at some stage. Like, this is hilarious. Wanting to fight students in the university. He's going to bring AKA skins up there and he smash his jaws in. You won't be laughing then when your glass jaws shattered to pieces. Oh, fuck.
Before you know it, he'll be moving base.
See, the student should have been switched on there. Say, hey, listen, AJ, you're really a wee bit upset. You want a wee bump here? You know, a wee snort of this stuff, mate. You know, that stuff you just sling on the streets back in the day. You know, forget where you came from, but do you want a wee snort of that? You know. But I tell you what, fucking, you could always say fair play to them because students are absolute wankers, especially the ones that I've got to deal with. Fucking fuds. So I'll say fair play to them, but. What was it all about again? Just because the mention
the student said you duck Fury, didn't you, and something like that, and then AJ told him that he's going to bring AKA skins up to smash them up. Basically,
he's been all fucking. What's his name? What was the fighters? What was the gangsters?
Big Meats. He's gone Big Meats.
Big Meats. Aye, Harvey Barnes. Was it Harvey Barnes? His name was
Nicky Barnes.
Harvey Barnes plays for Leicester, doesn't he?
That's a Harvey.
Grew up on James Madison.
Jamie Vardy's wife.
Jamie Vardy, fellas like this, Brendan Rodgers, my heroes.
Steve
Gary Lineker.
Brendan Rodgers, the rat.
Just let everyone know.
Eat a packet of Walkers.
Steve just blocked somebody from the chat whose name is Praise Jesus. I just want everyone to know the kind of person Steve is. He blocks people from the chat who praise Jesus.
This is Bellew of the Weeks, man, not Bible of the Week. You know what I mean, Matty? No time for sentiment.
Well, I don't get it.
King Jesus in the chat
so,
banned there apparently.
So hold on. So you ban the porn and then you ban the Jesus. They're conflicting. They're conflicting. You pick one.
Larry
Pick
Hoover.
one.
That's what you thought he was. You thought he was Larry Hoover.
Larry Hoover.
Oh, I tell you what, Anthony, you need to hoover up some fucking snort, mate. That's what you need to do. Just chill the fuck out. Fucking hell, you use it the fucking campaign with me.
I know. We've blocked the Bibles, we've blocked the cameras, and Ricky Gravel's still in the chat. It's a sad time, Matter.
Oh, but mate, listen, Ricky's been banned to America for fuck's sake, so you can't even block Ricky.
I have a feeling we were
Ricky Gravel.
I have a feeling we were just the first of many nations to say, no.
Right.
Ricky Gravel's one about the G-Man, see?
Did we get your nominations there, Rob?
Yeah, just AJ for, and Ebony Bridges, AJ, and Jim Gray all together were mine, but they're all covered.
That'd be a hot three-way.
I'm gonna say,
yo,
a dinner party, Roberto. That'll be worth it. Anyway, let's go through them quickly, and then everyone can do our picks for episode 476. We had Tracy Morgan with his jewelry. We had Deontay Wilder with the statue. We had Floyd ripping people off with his fake NFTs. We had Nathan Cleverly with his big cock and all of his property. We had Steve Kim talking about Canelo Triple G3. We had Ryan the ventriloquist dummy Garcia and Errol Spence in the crowd. We had Jim
looks like Tattoo from Fantasy Island, don't he? There, the plane.
Something out of Team America, don't they, Matty? Do you remember that one, World Police?
I do.
We had Jim Gray, we'll never forget. We had the one that Rob mentioned there about AJ plus Fury and Rocky Ali. We had the girls going in on the fellas there. We had Errol Spence with the Texas Motor Speedway.
Fuck's sake. A parody of that, man.
Rolly for just general offences. Michelle Joy Phelps for her UFO and ghost talk. We had Mark Hawkins. We had, that was a good Photoshop on Ebbs. We had big fat as a pig Michelin man Rydell Booker. And we had the mathematically impaired BBC. Plus we had Don King right at the beginning with his 1980s Pac-Man promo video for the heavyweight title fight. So I'll tell you what, it's been a strong week this week, Matty. Mm-hmm. You will have the first pick of the Bellew of the Weeks.
I gotta pass it on to Andy on that one. I'm gonna hang for a second because I'm thinking.
Why? You thinking?
I'm thinking. Okay.
We're gonna be here a while then.
This isn't a prediction league. Give me a break.
Go on, Andy.
We're still gonna get Rob's thoughts from the Haney Cambosis fight for next
I
week.
know.
I am gonna go for that wee clout chasing prick fucking Garcia. Lost 20 grand. There he is. You know, my man Spence here would fucking drink that within fucking 10 minutes and drive his Lamborghini home in one piece. Don't even worry about that. Whereas that wee dick, look at him. I'm here to do magic. No, you're not. Fuck off. So 20 grand doing, I look like a fucking dickhead. So yeah, I'm gonna go for fucking crying Garcia.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with Andy there. And so just so Ryan Garcia knows, no, I don't want to hear what the fucking specials are.
That's 2 for poor old Ryan Garcia.
He just needs a white towel. Oh, by the way, I had a quality comment by the way.
He went to the got changed in Michael Buffer's dressing room, didn't he?
He's just a hairstylist at least. But I was going to say, Packy Collins there last night. That must be the most overused towel in the fucking sport, by the way. It's just always getting launched in. Sorry, man. I found that very funny what you guys did. Fuck me, but yeah, it's true. He fucking that towel's got a lot of fucking. Oh, I'm going to again this weekend. Fuck yeah, get launched in the air again. Fuck me. Aye, fuck, brilliant.
Right, 2 for Garcia, then Dave. Before you pick Dave, I'm gonna have to go for the Texas Motor Speedway man, giving an award or receiving an award from old strap season himself, Earl Spence.
That's my number 2, but fucking hell, man, it's no worth 20 grand though.
Presented the award to Ricky Bobby, didn't he? Shake and bake.
Hey, and by the way, Garcia's standing there getting fucking Leonard Elby in the mouth. I'm fucking number 1, bitch. I'm fucking number 1. You ain't fucking nobody, bitch. I'm like, dude, you're fucking 22-year-old. Leonard Elby's a man. Floyd Mayweather Promotions. He's put on the biggest pay-per-view in history. You're gonna give this guy shite. Leonard Elby is the man, even though he's a fucking Botox 6 fucking Lego 6 doll.
He was wearing a soft ass shit suit last night as well, wasn't he? Look at his fucking white satin Johnny Logan suit last night. LRB.
Right, 2 for Crying Garcia, 1 for Errol Spence and his driving abilities. Hey to Dave Loback, who are you going for?
I'm going for Raleigh. I exposed him. I beat him for 6 rounds, even though he got knocked out in the 6th round. Yeah, Raleigh. It's got to be it got to fit with the theme of the week.
Good stuff, Dave. Thank you very much.
Did Dave go for Slayer? Pop away there.
Raleigh.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
He's had a rough weekend. Rob, what about you?
Yeah, I'm thinking fucking Jim Gray, but yeah, Jim Gray just being Jim Gray, like has to fucking always have the fucking snide last word, doesn't he? Like ammunition and stuff, like it's a common term used in boxing. I don't think like it's like that fucking it's Adam Smith all over again, isn't it? I don't think anybody was thinking that fucking Gervonta Davis of all people has his fucking finger on the pulse of current events. Like he's in there for fucking half of Baltimore. It's highly unusual. Like so, I don't know. Yeah, Jim Gray for me.
Look at his fan base to the fucking Barclays Centre. He gives a fuck. Jesus.
I'm changing my vote. Yeah, it's Jim Gray.
He's the night with it anyway, isn't he? Look at Ellerby in the background.
You just turned it into a draw, you fucking
Yeah,
cunt.
you just turned it into a draw, Dave. What are you doing?
Jim Gray.
Steve no voted.
Final
Stevie
No, I did. I went for Errol and the Texas Speedway.
Fuck.
I went for the Texas Speedway. Dave and Rob both went for Jim Gray's altercation or conversation with Gervonta. And you and Matty both went for Crying.
Mm-hmm.
There you are. Give it to Garcia and Jim Gray equal just to get things rolling. Episode 476 Play of the Week. Congratulations, boys. There's the winners. That's all I've got then, Matty. I'll hand it back over to you and for Rob and the picks and stuff.
And I'm pulling for Ryan in his new career. Just remember, you're not supposed to show the back of your hand to the person that you're serving. You're supposed to use the opposite hand.
Look at that limp wrist, though, man. He's obviously an expert at that limp wristed move there, eh?
Yeah, that's you kind of got to cup if you're going to properly pour wine, I guess, a little bit. Maybe he's just working on it. He's just,
I mean, Errol needs to wear that hat properly, man. That's a disgrace. He's got a fucking half on his head, man. Get that sorted out.
It makes me think of fucking Oz when out of BC and that fucking beanie he wore that just somehow stuck to the fucking back quadrant of his head. But anyways, speaking of people who have done time in prison, Rob, what are your thoughts on the fights this last weekend? And then we'll get into some predictions.
I'm not guilty.
Was
murder was the charge that they gave me.
Yeah. So what is it? What are we picking on this week? Haney and Cambosis, and what else?
Haney and Cambosis, and then we are picking between Fulton and Danny Roman.
I'm going to go Fulton by stoppage.
Wow. You're the only person going for the stoppage. I'm going Danny Roman, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to go Fulton. I think I like Fulton.
By the way,
I
you
think he
fucked up this week because Steve's new on top of the league, so you're fucked.
Is he?
Yep.
On
You
goal
were-
difference or something, is he?
You picked Santa Maria like my dumbass.
I didn't even know who they were. I was just looking. No, what's going on?
We noticed.
You took advantage of the situation, Rob. That's what we did.
Don't know if I fucking disguised that well.
Your heart wasn't in that one, Rob. We guessed.
No.
That's why punctuality is key.
Tell me about it. That's the fucking story of my life. Yeah, for Haney and Cambosis, I like Fulton. I'm not just saying that. I really rate Fulton, and I think he's due a coming out win. And I think he's going to cut Roman in bits, actually. So we'll see. Well, I think he'll probably get him out of there in the second half of the fight, maybe 9-10, something like that. Could be cuts. And in terms of Haney Cambosis, I underrated Cambosis, right? I thought he talked a bigger fight than he was worth against Teofimo, and I fully expected Teofimo to fucking decapitate him, but I thought he'd have some success in the fight. He proved that night he was a better fighter than I thought he was, and against Selby, really. Saying that, Lopez, I think, without taking any credit away from Cambosis, I think Lopez possibly struggling at the weight. There was a lot of fucking reschedules for that fight as well, was there?
You also heavy. You also remember that Icelandic heavy strongman. He actually allowed him a fucking free hit on his chest cavity and that, and then he's like, he almost died trying to make weight, that type of thing. So
there was mad excuses thrown out afterwards. I don't know what stock to put in him, but I don't know if it was the 100% version of Lopez that Cambosis beat. However, he did beat him, dropped him along the way. And I think in Australia, for coming home, Paddy, I think Devin Haney's a very good fighter from a technical point of view, but he's not amazing. Like I said to you, like a million times, he got to DAZN because Mayweather and all them didn't want him. And Ellerby said before, he's a good fighter, but I have to pay you what you weigh. In other words, you're not a draw, you're not a puncher. He's not a supreme defensive fighter as much as Eddie tried to see him. Eddie tried to sell us him as the second coming of Floyd. How many second comings of Floyd have we had in the last fucking 10 years? God knows.
Fucking Bruno's the worst one, man. Jesus Christ.
But Haney's another bad comparison, I think. So he's got time to become his own man. But I think everything is against him going to Australia. No Ben Davison. No the dad. Is the dad making it there?
That's a fucking result, mate. Ben Davison.
Yeah. No, but I mean, in terms of his preparation, he's going there without his dad and his other trainer that he's used to working with. So he's got somebody stepping in.
Working on that apartment. I think his dad will get there eventually.
Well, if his dad gets there, I don't think Devin Haney can knock out Cambosis. I think he can outbox him probably. But I think Cambosis' activity on home soil, and I think Haney has yet to show that he can adjust on the fly when he's under pressure. I thought Linares had him out of there. Only the punch landed too close to the end of the round. And a younger version of fucking Linares would have probably stopped him earlier when you saw that he could get hurt. I don't think Campos is a tremendous puncher, but I do think he has volume punching that's going to make Haney uncomfortable. And I don't think Haney's Willie Pepper or Will-O-the-Wisp by any stretch. As much as he gets sold as a defensive fighter, I think there's holes in his defense that have been shown against lesser opposition than Cambosis. So I'm going to go Cambosis by a points.
You and me both.
Well, there we go. That's what I think. G'day, mate.
All right.
Steve, you're going to walk out here next week like fucking Vince McMahon, by the way. I'm telling you right now. Swaggering in the fucking gangway to the ring, saying, suck his my, let's say, suck my dick.
Do I know boxing? Yes, I do.
Yes, we do. Roger Mayweather, rest in peace.
And also, before we bounce out of here, I'd like to extend our condolences to the Gary Russell family over the passing of the patriarch of their family. And I know we make our jokes and stuff like that, but it is a tragic loss to that family who had led all of these young men to be successful in boxing. So obviously, he's left an impact in this world of boxing, and he will be missed sorely. So to the Russell family, we at the Nuthouse do extend our condolences on your tragedy. But we will be back here next week and
Maybe.
we will be we will be reviewing all of these fights that we have discussed, and we'll also be previewing the Inoue Donaire rematch, which is going to be on Wednesday morning in Japan for me. So that'll be an exciting middle of the week event there. It's going to be good times. We got a lot of good stuff coming up over the next few weeks. I hope that y'all will join us. I'd like to thank Steve Wellings, Andy Patterson, Rob Kelly, and Hater Dave for coming in and joining us this week. And we will see you next Sunday.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
Go to and move!
We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep. You're a fucking bum. You're a fucking asshole.
Rumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7 year ain't. 7 year ain't. I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love Boxing Asylum.